if you move your...
We didn't do this last week.
No, we didn't. Because it was...
I did it.
Well, it was like super messed up, so you had to cut it at like a better time.
A couple people did it.
Yeah. That made sense.
I didn't. I had bottles last week.
I still haven't gotten a wine opener, by the way.
Happy Monday. Oh, your birthday's on the 1st of February, right?
Impressive, yes.
I remember.
What?
Okay.
All right.
I mean, I definitely have said it before, but like, I don't expect anyone to remember that.
I don't remember that.
I'm absolute garbage at that, so.
I mean, if anything, I don't remember Scott or Kevin's birthdays.
Wow, all right.
It was literally that.
We know
It was
who's a
just
real friend here.
favoritive.
It
I
was
like
literally
this.
just that it was the 1st of February, and my best friend's birthday is also in February.
Okay.
So it's just
No,
That is true.
Is
It's
it
a really
Johnny?
easy one to...
no Eric.
So Eric.
Yeah, Eric's
Well-
on the 20th.
See, the thing that's disappointing is that my birthday is exactly as easy as TJ's to remember.
Wait, is it on the 1st? Is it on the 1st?
Motherfucker.
It's on May 1st.
Yeah.
Oh, well, not going.
I just saw that.
No, as soon as I said that, like,
I think Kevin knows. Oh, he's
Yeah,
probably
okay.
showering. We're good.
because I'm pretty sure your birthday, Scott, is on the same. No, that's March. I was about to say it was my parents' anniversary. It's
Yeah.
on a month that starts with an N on the 1st.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's one of two options.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
of two
You got a
options.
50-50 shot to remember, basically.
Cool.
Month that ends in ER.
When's your birthday, Luke?
July 5th.
July 5th.
Oh, that's easy too.
Yeah.
After the
Easy too.
4th.
Yeah.
After the 4th. And 5 is a lot easier to remember than the 4th.
That probably kind of
Why?
sucks a little bit, though. Wait.
No, it's right in the middle of the year.
Well, sure, but that's a good point. Does it ever get, like, eclipsed by the 4th, though? Like,
No.
okay.
Can we get back to Mike Long saying that the 5 is easier to remember than the 4th?
Wait, yeah, actually, what?
Yeah.
Five's
Explain.
such
He
an
doesn't
easy
count
number
so
to
good.
remember because it's like that one number that like everyone knows how to add because it goes 5, 10, 15, 20, and then you just add 5 all around. So
Okay.
5 is already just like.
No, I definitely hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but...
I also passed second grade.
And so yeah, 5 is a real easy number to remember.
That's
Anything
fine.
that
How
has
many
5
fingers you have?
is just 5.
But, like, July 4th is a lot easier than July 5th.
What happened?
Oh, my God. Well, anyways, we played some Frisbee last week,
We
I think,
did.
right? Well, some of us did.
Some people did.
But,
Everyone in this room did.
I don't know, do you want to just...
Yeah, there's a certain team that doesn't have any representation here this week, and
It's gonna prove
it's
not
for a
the
good
best.
reason.
Yeah, I think they're scared.
There are 2 teams.
Or it's three
There are
that
3
don't.
teams that don't have
but-
any representation.
2 of them are just
Yeah.
busy. One of them's scared.
Yeah,
Yeah. Fair enough.
So yeah, that was game 1. So let's get right into
Go
it.
right into that.
Alright.
Kevin C, would you like to
Explain to me how that
explain
happened.
to me what happened?
Well, the final score. Well, I don't. Can we go?
Mhm.
Can we go to the page so I can actually remember exactly what the
22,
final score was?
remember.
This is the
No,
total.
it was 23 to 5. I
This is
think.
week 3, so it was
8.
23 to... That's not Dan. That's Dan.
Yeah,
to
most-
5.
23
Most
to 5.
points,
Go.
most points scored in 3 years of Winter League. Largest victory margin in 3 years of Winter League.
Yeah.
Stop, Scott. You're flattering.
It did.
It makes some
indeed
sense.
happen.
They're the smallest fields we played on, though, too, so that's part of it.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Although the first
I
year we
don't-
played 4, so you would think that it would just be flying back and
I don't know if
forth.
that
We just weren't
the
very
field
good
made
at
the
the time.
difference, though. I mean, there was a couple points where it made a difference, but
Well, it's just a small field, so there's things happen much more quickly.
yeah, like when there's
Which
a
kinda
turn, it just
drives
turns
the
around
score up.
quickly, Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what was the... Give me the first, 5 points. How did... Because I was playing my other game.
All
so
right,
how
the
did
first
you-
5 points is
First.
a D or a drop, and then me catching it in the end zone.
On Josh.
Yikes. Specifically on Josh, who said he
Well,
will
that-
not get scored on last week.
Yeah.
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 Yep. That was
Yeah.
pretty much Josh. I'm pretty sure Josh was on me those all 5 points.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, after that, and then we got a break, and then we got another break, and then another break. And
We
another
just kind
break.
of didn't make mistakes
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah.
Whereas Dan's team
He didn't have very many turns at all.
made
That's
a
actually
lot
kind of
of
scary how few turns
mistakes.
you had.
I remember looking at the stat sheet, and you guys were actually
When you
top
drew
and
the
below.
line in the half, yeah.
and it was literally just half. Because
And
we have it where it's good stuff on the right, bad
Mhm.
stuff on the... Wait.
Yeah,
Good stuff on the left,
bad
bad stuff on the
yeah.
right. So it was literally just all of Kevin's stuff was on the left, all of Dan's stuff was on the right. And it was,
I know for sure, like, only one of my turns was actually a bad one, and that was early in the game, and I just threw it in the dirt at Kevin's feet. But the other two, I know one I put into the wall past Johnny, and the other just got caught up in traffic. So, like, I don't know if they were, like, they were truly turns, but it's not, like you said, the field size, I think, also changes that a lot. But, I don't know, I think we just clicked really well, and I think once, like, this sounds so bad, once we were up 5-0, like, I could see everybody be really confident, like everybody. I think we just started playing with our confidence, and I think that just made us click a lot more. Especially since we were ahead, we were able to just like have fun and play frisbee and be competitive rather than like try to like grind out points.
Right.
speaking of having fun, I heard Kevin was on the sideline for how many points? 6, 7?
There's like
Dude,
at the end of the game, I was just drinking a beer on the sideline.
He was. No, but even during the middle, I think also like
When
even
I was-
before halftime, like he was on the sideline for 2 or 3 points, and like we still scored, and I think all of us were like, okay, like we can all do this together. Like we didn't need Kevin around to like not control, but like to command or like give pointers and stuff like that. We all knew what we had to do.
I brought a sideline beer because I was confident in my team.
Yeah, exactly.
With that being said, Kevin, you still had the most scores on your team. So
yeah.
Get onto YouTube.
What and I think
Actually,
like
yeah.
one of the biggest things that like helped us a lot is we actually when we used the whole width of the field.
Yeah.
Like most of our scores weren't open side shots; they were swing to a break side, shot to a cut, going break side,
That makes sense.
which is very useful as you use the whole like width of the field instead of just trying to jam it up one way.
It's
Hey,
people moving around.
You're
causes
talking to Team
commotion.
Hostak over here.
Team host.
And all about that.
What, using the whole field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the goal, anyways.
you gotta use the whole field.
And I think our cuts were a lot more organized too. Like there wasn't so much clutter. Like people cleared out and stuff like that. And I think the handlers like me, Higgy, Madeline, like we all like ran the offense that we were supposed to run. And I know for me, I like was able to. I saw the field a lot better than before, where I was just like tunnel vision. So I think we swung it really well, and we were able to then break side, break people, break man, and that helped. We also had a little bit of size advantage and mismatch on a couple times, and definitely exploited that. But like, it's kind of like Snyderman and all. Just 7 foot, you just throw it up here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just clicked because it was just
Well, that's a little scary.
Yeah, it's cool.
We'll talk about
So, this is basically a useless question to ask 90% of the time. They always ask it in like sports radio shows and stuff. But do you feel like you won the game or like Dan's team lost the game?
Oh, 100% Dan's team just threw the game. There's a lot of
Yeah.
times where Dan's handlers would just have it
No.
so long and like look off either one reset or one open throw and then just either throw it away or get Johnny stalled a couple people. He was stalling a little fast, just like a second fast, but
That's the kind of thing that really rubs me the wrong way because it's such a minor advantage, but there's no good way to call him on it. Because you say stall count, then you argue about it, and you still only get 2 seconds back, and then he's going to count those fast anyways.
I mean, you can just continuously say like go fast count, fast count, fast
Yeah.
count, fast count, fast
Yeah,
count.
that's true.
And
But
they have to keep
That's-
dropping 2 the entire time.
okay, so how should the stall counts be at? Because
Literal seconds.
literal seconds. Okay.
So
that's
the like way that they tell people to do it, and that's why you hear everybody start with like stall 1, is
no, I
you're
do.
theoretically saying stall in between every single one. So stall 1, stall 2,
That's what I
stall
do,
3,
yeah.
which was an actual second.
easy.
But people just leave out the stall every time because like
You don't have to say.
yeah, it's
And
annoying.
then when you're getting competitive, it's just like 1, 2. It's
Exactly.
like,
But
you're not-
the thing that ends up happening is like, yeah, especially because I'm sure Johnny's not doing that on purpose, and but
No,
when it's like 1
absolutely
second
not.
and stuff, it's
No.
not. But it's just like
I'm gonna start calling fast count on people now just to be.
Just
Well,
I mean, it's all.
sometimes it's like real. where
sometimes
you,
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you really have to.
Sometimes it's hard to tell. Like Johnny's is hard to tell, but the only reason I could tell is because I was looking at the scoreboard while also watching it, and I saw 6 seconds go by, and then stall get called, and I was like,
well, and that's the thing because it's not egregious,
But
but it is. You're taking away 15% of the time they have to do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not
And-
egregious at all. It's just something you see.
Yeah.
The only reason I saw it is because I looked at the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And watched the time go down.
That makes sense.
I also think this week, Kevin, you hopefully with me on that. I think we played our forces really well. Like we kept them on one side of the field and made them have to try to throw break or whatever, and it messed them up. And I think that was where a lot of their turns came from. Like we held our force pretty hard from what I saw, at least.
We committed to it better than we have in the past couple weeks.
Like we made sure to stay on those forces instead of a couple times we broke down, obviously, but like we were forcing them to like forehand pretty much the whole time. Other than if it was on the backhand wall, but
I don't think we did the best we could, but I
No, for
definitely
sure.
think we
improved.
did better. And
Force is a tough thing to teach,
Yeah.
especially people who like really don't know it or don't practice it. It just comes with practice. But all right, was there anything on Dan's side that you guys saw that like either was good or that was just like blatantly something they could try to fix?
So Dan tried to run an interesting offense.
I'm shocked.
What do you try?
He tried to run like a side stack with cuts from the front, dragging across and clearing out deep, so he could throw like a high release like forehand huck or like an inside forehand huck.
Sure.
Which you run into issues with that when I don't think his team has the knowledge to be able to actually run that type of offense.
Because what do you do when that throw isn't there? You gotta trust someone to be smart, and it's like a pretty specific thing you need from them at that point.
The drag across was hard. Is still like it's just a weird way to run a side stack, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's like almost impossible to throw deep on your team as well. You know what I mean? Because you have like you and Johnny and like Higgy, like people who like stay back there and are tall and able
Johnny
to
can
catch
get
up.
anywhere in about 5 seconds. So.
Yeah.
The whole issues with the running like a side stack that way is you completely take away a complete option.
Yeah, well, right, because you're just like dragging across,
So you
which
have
cuts
one
all
option,
that, and then you
2 option,
Right.
and that's it.
Yeah.
And
Someone has
like
to
a
fill
normal
or-
like forward, like a triangle type cut you have the deep option is 1, the under is 2, and the clear back to stack is 3. A lot of people don't know when you make that like big undercut to the force side, as you come directly across to the stack, it's not even a break throw. It's just up the field, middle of the field. They catch it on the break side of their dude and can continue breaking if they need to.
Yeah.
But it's just coming out from the front and then going deep takes away a complete and total option.
There was a lot of like Ross running in the middle and making some space for himself, and then catching like Dan's over the top throw to him, and then that kind of like pushed them forward a little bit because like we held our marks very well, but it's a lot of just like him getting open in the middle, catching it, and then them setting it up again.
Yeah. I think it was them playing a little scared and Dan just going a little too complicated for his team.
Yeah. Do you think? Did
Trying
you
to
notice Dan not throwing to half his team? Because once Dan was down against us, and it was obviously a much closer game, he kind of stopped throwing to everybody not named Josh or Ross.
I don't think that happened
I
too
don't
much.
think so.
I feel like he might have just been like 2 down.
That's true.
You know,
Chase caught a couple.
I was just about to ask. Chase was finally there, so
yeah,
how did he do?
He's an athlete. I mean,
Stats wise, he did pretty well.
Yeah, I
4
mean,
turns is
he had,
fine.
he had a DM in the end zone. Like the kid's quick. Like I broke away from him, and he caught it back up pretty quickly. He's not tall, but he's deceivingly quick. Like when he makes that undercut, like you have to break with him, or else he's gonna have you every time. So that was like something that wasn't expecting because nobody ever saw Chase play this season. So it's not something we could be like, hey, he's quick across the middle. So
This is his second game. This isn't his first.
Was Chase actually there the first week?
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there
Was he?
this week.
I thought it was his brother.
No, his dad.
His dad
wasn't
Dennis
there.
was
The
there.
first
The
Dennis
other,
wasn't there.
so Dennis wasn't,
Oh,
and the
Dennis
brother
was
was there for
there.
Dennis. Okay,
Other
Gotcha.
brother was there for Dennis.
gotcha.
But he
Yeah.
played pretty well.
Yeah.
He took some. I told him after, like, if you don't, because a couple of his throws he took shots on. It was more of like, I don't think he was like 100% sure to make that throw.
Mhm.
I told him, it's okay if you don't think you can make that throw. If it's like the throw that you don't think you have, just reset the disc and go catch in the end zone.
Yeah. No, I mean that's so I played with him on summer league in Canton, and like he's just an athlete. You know what I mean? Like he's 15 or 16 or whatever, and he's just good.
Just quick, yeah.
But yeah, he's almost never played frisbee. So it was when we played with him in the summer. It was literally his first time throwing a disc. Like it was the first time, but he scored a couple times. Like it's
Those
just
aren't bad. Like it's not like
exactly. It just comes with practice.
exactly.
But,
Other than that, I'm stats.
So where does Dan's team go from here? Is it time to blow up the franchise?
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure because
Yeah.
Oh,
The
Dan
last-
still
the
doesn't
last-
trade at all, does he?
I'm not
So-
even talking trades necessarily, although I think it's time to start
thinking about
thinking
it.
about it. But I personally am slapping him with the Dunn hammer.
Oh,
The Dunham.
The Dunn hammer.
Like he's not making the
So,
playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's out of playoff contention already.
I think
he isn't.
He's not, but I think
I
he
mean,
is.
so looking
Yeah.
at it last year,
He's not
Dan's
mathematically
team, like
eliminated.
yeah, he's not.
Dan's team last year went on like the same sort of like trot as they're doing now, but they still overall took.
But
or,
they
like,
got
technically
trades.
got-
They got
True.
trades after week 3 because they lost
Oh,
the
they did.
first.
I forgot,
Yeah.
okay.
So I don't think like Dan's team is done per se, but they might have to restructure and rethink about some of the things they need to really work on.
What he needs to do is just destroy his whole concept of offense and build it from the ground up and bring it to everybody's level.
Yeah,
And, like,
but
dumb
he
it
also
down is the
ran.
word,
he also
but-
ran a modified hex offense all last year. I'm not convinced that that's in his wheelhouse.
Dan likes to run different offenses.
Yeah,
He likes
yeah.
to experiment.
Which is fine with people who.
Oh, he likes to do that with everything. He
Yeah,
likes to
yeah.
experiment. He likes to innovate. He tries to think of something that no one's thought of before, even though, and by doing so, I think he just chooses things that are suboptimal a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
or things he completely understands and has to convey to other people
Yeah.
that have,
I think he can come. I think he can.
I think he can bring it back.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
how
think
much
he
he can
bring it back, but I think he's not mathematically out of playoff contention. But
They almost got to win out at this point.
He has.
No, if he wins out, it'll be 7-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think if his team gets on a roll, like that's the only way they can do is to
Yeah.
start tying stuff together. Because I mean, like you said, it's hard for Dan to do, but just to be able to like dumb it down and be like, all right, we're gonna make this simple because a lot of times simple does work because everybody else isn't thinking simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just being able to run a simple offense just to make it easy for his team to understand, because a team that understands a simple subject is gonna work a lot better than a complex, but nobody understands.
Yeah,
So-
definitely.
I just think that would be a step in the right
Sponsored
direction.
by Chipotle.
I was about to get into a little rant because
even
I ordered DoorDash and it's absolute trash. It's like
oh, that's
not. It's
so
like
bad.
barely
That's
anything that I
unfortunate.
ordered.
Ugh.
But-
But even like after the game, like Vince came up to me and he was like, "It's like, how'd you know I was gonna throw that when you foot blocked me?" I was like, "Well, I watch your eyes, and you weren't like this is what Kevin like when you have the disc, you gotta make sure to move, make people move around." And he didn't do any of that, and he just telegraphed his throw. And so I try to give him a point and be like, "Listen, keep moving around, move your eyes, move your hips, like."
Yeah.
It's helping like newer players understand those concepts that can like 'cause if he got me to bite, then you have a backhand and then it keeps moving. So
Yeah.
I think it's just getting some simple concepts to people where they understand like a facet of the game.
I don't think you realize this is backhand. This is Vince's backhand.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because he can throw a forehand.
I think that's been fixed, but at least the naming has been fixed.
Hold on, are we going with 2 separate hot sauces?
Well, I did thought this was actually full, but it's not at all. So
Oh,
I got like nothing out of it yet.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll try to be quiet.
What do
Don't
you
worry.
think?
Yeah,
Mike,
so
what do you think they're gonna
just
do?
to summarize for you what you missed, where you're getting your food, I'm hitting Dan's team with the Dunn hammer.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think about that?
I mean,
I
it's worth a
said-
shot.
I said in the predictions Dan was gonna go like 1-9.
I thought he was going to lose 3 close ones. He didn't, so that means he's worse than I thought. So I'm hitting him with a
He
Dunn hammer.
lost 2 close ones.
He lost 2 close ones. Though.
Yeah, but then he lost his next game by 18.
Yeah.
Which, we also got blown out week 1, but I think the situations were different there.
I think who does Dan play next week?
Gabe
Next
Pat.
week,
Oh, it's
Dan
Gabe.
is Gabe.
It's gonna be a rough game, but I feel like Dan's gonna play probably a lot better next
No,
week.
They'll
but
play him better. I still think they'll lose by 6 or 7.
Yeah.
That's prediction territory. We'll wait.
Let's
Yeah, we'll wait
we'll
for
wait.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll wait on that.
But you're right. I mean,
Yeah, I think then we just ran away with it after halftime. I think.
I honestly think Dan just needs to spend the rest of the the next game or the next 2 games.
Even the next 2 weeks.
Listen to what I'm saying. Don't interrupt me. The next 2 games.
That's your captain speaking.
No, sorry.
The next 2 games working on catches and throws and decision making, and that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect segue into our game because that's like exactly what we're coming from.
Okay.
Is we just like we need the basics. We need conditioning. We just got ran over.
So that's probably the hardest thing to get in
Yeah.
a short season.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if 12 weeks are that short.
It's not that short, but like you don't have practices. You don't have set workouts. You're not coming together as a team outside of your games. So you can't just say, guys, we need better conditioning and expect that to happen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Games kind of matter because you got to make playoffs if you want to.
Yeah.
If you want a shot at the championship.
No, exactly. And me and Mark are starting to do like, just our teaching is way less frisbee and way more just like, let's do some ab workouts and like, just like showing people kind of like that you can fit time into your schedule to work out and, you know, have this not be its only thing. But I'm making a mess.
That's not what I noticed, to be honest, during our game. I
Really?
saw a lot of soft forces specifically from Paul.
Yeah.
Forces
Forces are tough. We really didn't like focus on that. We
Yeah.
taught it and Mark like explained it in his
Yeah.
voiceover thing that he did, but it was not like our focus.
Because one of the
Yeah.
one of the things I really
How
tried
can
to
I watch
emphasize
Mark's
this week.
voiceover video.
I'll send it to you.
Awesome.
It's on his
I'll
channel.
watch it.
One of the things I really tried to emphasize this week was don't play into a force that they're not actually setting. Because a lot of times my team was acting like there's a force even with a straight up mark.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the things we did well is when Paul was marking Matt straight up, Matt was hitting that break set there every single time.
Yeah, we did a lot of like miscommunication too on that. Like, not even just the force being bad, but we established that pretty much every time you're probably going to go into forehand. So that was like the default.
Yeah.
And then people would like go up and throw backhand. Sometimes accurately because they're right on the wall or whatever, but
Yeah.
it just meant like nobody was echoing it.
Mm-hmm.
We had a fair share of issues that game for sure. It was another frustrating one, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like, again, same thing as last week. As it was a lot more of this sort of basic kind of like we just have to be a team.
What was the final score of that game?
15-12.
Yeah, something along that, or maybe it was like 12. Yeah, it was a 15.
It was Eli's not on there. I don't know if he had any points.
It was 15-12.
Okay,
So,
I guess
yeah.
Eli didn't score.
Or he did one or something. But
That's not that bad of a loss.
no, it really wasn't.
No.
And there was a time even in the second half that we were only down like 1 or 2, and we really
At the
probably
beginning of
could
the second half,
we really probably could have gone harder, but we were sort of mentally not there.
In my opinion, the first half of that game was a little bit of a shit show. I would probably guess that 80% of our throwaways and turns came in the first half. The second half was played generally a lot cleaner, and both teams were slowing it down a bit more and playing more intelligently.
Yep, that was Mark and I started to harp on that, where we were just like, all right, every time we have the disc, just be slow, be chill, just you're in control, figure it out. Because that was part of it, is we were like, we're losing and making mistakes, what do we do? And like, kind of freaking out about it.
Like kind of like a take your time thing when you get the disc. Try not to be too antsy with it.
There were quite a few missed, just like wide open dumps and stuff like that were instead thrown to like deeps or like really accurate, tough shots. Definitely by me, but also everyone else.
Is that because of not being aware of the dump, or is that just because of?
For every time I did it, it was definitely just like frustration trying to like, all right, we need to score. But I think there were a handful that were just like
Did not notice that the dump
either
was
didn't
there.
notice it was there or just blatantly like wanted to be the hero, you know.
So something I've noticed with I saw that a lot in my week 1 game with Madeline being a reset handler. So I would suggest whoever you're having back is your reset handler. Tell them to be a little bit more vocal. Like they don't have to be like, "Hey, give it to me." They can just be like, "Hey, I'm here if you need me."
I agree. That was and to Paul's credit, because Paul was one of the people that was doing it a bunch. He was like, he rewatched our game. He was like, "Oh, I'm definitely going in next week with a like singular mindset of having no turnovers or no throwaways specifically, and like hitting the dumps and being chilly." So he understands.
To be honest, in Paul's defense, the 2 throws that you're probably thinking of as pretty bad, like decisions, were like pretty good D's by Walsh. It wasn't
Yeah, no, for sure.
like egregious.
No, and that so to that classic reporter question of like, did we lose the game or did you win the game?
Yeah.
I think you won the game. I think we had plenty of mistakes, but I think you guys really showed up. There
Are you
was
sure, TJ? You're holding You're holding the single
Record?
league record right now in turns.
throwaways.
Turns.
Well, that's what turns.
Throwaways.
On here, yeah.
Turns.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is one of the reasons I brought up stats the one time is because I don't necessarily agree that I had 12. I think they are because they're black and white. That's true. I threw them and nobody touched them. But I think that they very, very easily could have been touched or should have been touched. Yeah. But
What did your team do well though? Like, what did you see in your team that like you were?
we started to really like implement frisbee. So like the very first week, we just kind of went out there and played, and you know we had enough skill and fun to just win. But second week, we really tried to like, all right, we're gonna do a vert stack, and we're gonna like put a force in and all this stuff, and we were doing okay with it. But it was, you know, our main focus, so we started to kind of fall off. And this week, I think we did a good amount of making better cuts. We cleared out much more than we normally did, and I think that we at least feel 40 to 50% of the time hit like the correct throw, like an open throw, threw it at him and hit him. But I don't know. We had a little bit of like a hero complex from me, Mark, Paul.
Playing some hero ball.
Yeah, like all of us were like, all right, we gotta win, we gotta do something about it, and started to like kind of go hard.
That never ends well.
No.
That never ends well. Never play hero ball.
No, it really doesn't. But yeah, you know, we'll grow. Except we're not growers, apparently.
Dan was definitely not growing.
Yeah.
But Mike Long, how did you play? How did you play in
I
your
want to
year?
hear from you guys.
There were some pretty good highs and some pretty low lows.
Tell me about some of these highs.
From you?
Some of the yeah.
Disagree, but go on.
Oh, which one? The high or
The
the
highs or
lows?
the lows?
Both. No, the lows. I really think that everyone on your team did very well.
No, I think I agree. Everyone on the team did very, very well. But I think that if I were to pick one player on our team that just like did some really stupid things, it would be Michael Damian Long.
Really?
I'm not gonna completely disagree with you, but they're so fixable.
No, like it was at that point where as soon as I literally looked at the footage,
Yeah.
and not even just looked at the footage, as soon as I like did the play, it was just like, all right, sorry, that was stupid.
Because not to rub this in, but there were 2 specific plays where Mike should have been marking Mark, and he was just kind of sitting in the end zone. Which, you know, he stopped the throw going to that side, but you got to just reset it for like 30 straight seconds until there was an opening.
I remember one specific time that was exactly that. We ended up scoring off of it, so I'll give you that one. But
Was that one of your lows?
Yeah, that was.
But also to your credit, I think at halftime you said that you were having a really hard time with Mark guarding you. You weren't getting open.
Yeah.
I gave you a second and a half of feedback, and you were a monster in the second half.
Oh, thank you.
And I know from Mark that you like talked to him the entire time, and he was like coaching you, and then you were learning from the coaching during the game and getting better during the game. Because he was like, "Man, I love Mark and Mike." He was just like talking to me, and I was like, "Hey, I think on that one you probably could have like cut me off this way." Because I wouldn't have been able to get that reset, and then you're like, "Oh, good point." And then you didn't do it the next time. Yeah, and he was like, "I don't want to guard Mike the next time though, because he learns." Yeah.
So not to shoot myself in the foot here, I didn't listen to Mark that time because I really looked at it as just like a scumbag. It's just like, oh, you should have done this. You're an idiot. but
No way.
but then at that point, like, as soon as I had that, because that's like. I guess that's my esports mentality right there.
Yeah.
Where if someone says like, I guess in Smash Brothers, yeah, you could have teched that. It was just like so like no one's gonna get that reference.
No, I get you though.
But anyway, then like as soon as I remembered, oh, this is Mark. Like he's actually trying to be helpful.
Exactly.
Just, like,
there is no scumbag like bone in Mark's body at all. He is just like the nicest person.
So Mike, from last week to this week, what did your team do better?
Oh, we communicated a lot better, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely the thing I'm the most happy with is the fact that we played a really good game, and there's still so many things to fix, and we're actually doing a good job of fixing them.
Like it really showed that if we do the right force, that like again, this happened with like literally everyone on the team got a clean D. Like when we made the force, throwing up, and then like most of all Ryan just like capitalized on
Brian
it.
was a monster.
Yeah,
I was somewhat worried that because I don't know Eli that well, that without Dustin that we would kind of be missing that like raw athlete element out there, and both Eli and Ryan were absolutely able to fill that. And
I'm just looking at Walshy's stats right now. This is actually the first time I'm actually looking at Walshy's stats.
yeah,
Honestly, at these stats in general, Walshy had nothing but positives.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, he was electric.
He absolutely played out his mind.
And
He should have had a throwaway. He's missing a throwaway.
It might have been a drop.
They got missed.
No, it
But
was.
anyway.
I know the specific play, and it doesn't matter. But
it doesn't.
but he's holding the single season record for D's right now, or season game record.
yeah, I mean, there were 2 in a row where he soft easy ones to Zach. There's a couple. Yeah, there's a couple where playing a force, they're trying to catch up. They just kind of threw it straight at him a couple times. I think that's where a lot of our D's came from. But we were in the right position, and when you're in the right position, and you can sprinkle a little athleticism on top of that, you get 5 D's a game.
Yeah. No, 100%. You guys, there was one point when I got out to a line and it was like you two, Eli, Ferris, and Walsh on a line. And I was like, shit. What do I do?
Tilt Scott. Yeah.
So
Figure a way to tilt Scott in that exact moment.
yeah.
I don't tilt that easy. It's the things that tilt me are not the things that he can do without being a scumbag.
It'd have to be like really,
You'd have to scumbag it, basically.
or I'd have to like
Something like long into tilting Scott.
I was just gonna say exactly that. Somehow convince Michael Long to scream at his teammates.
Give Michael Long $20 to scream at his teammates.
I learned my lesson from week 1. I thought the Scott Hammer come down.
What you wouldn't do for $20?
Oh hell yeah!
Okay, good to know.
I'll pay 21 not to.
We play them next week, don't we?
Yeah, next week. Not
No, we
not
play
this
TJ.
Thursday.
Oh, we
Yeah.
play TJ.
Yeah.
No, we play you in January.
January,
gotcha.
But yeah, it's not like a ton to talk about because I don't know, you guys just kind of out athleticism us, and we made some mistakes.
The score
Yeah.
overall seems like it was a pretty close, even game.
Yeah,
It was 13, I think 8 at one point, and we kind of made a conscious. We threw a zone. We made a decision to like try and slow it down a little bit. I don't think we were probably capable of running up the score, but also we weren't trying super hard.
yeah. It was they just like always had the lead essentially, so it felt a little more frustrating. But it was, I don't know, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it was a good game. I was really happy with basically everything that happened. All right, so the game, the invisible game, the one that no one's
We all watched it though.
Yeah, we all watched
Yeah.
it. That's
We
true.
all watched it.
True.
Gabe
It was
versus Pat.
14-18?
Yeah,
Something
something like
like
that.
18-14? I feel like that was the same score of their game the week before, though.
That's
We
a
need to
little
start
fun.
putting these at the bottom so we don't have to count.
Yeah, we could total them. That's probably a great point. Because the total line is in there, so
Just to
why
make it easier.
don't I just do that?
15,
Yeah, you gotta
12.
scroll over.
Yeah, 18-14.
Yep. So, I don't know. I know personally that Gabe was like really frustrated after he actually went home and worked out.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I'm so amped, I can't go to sleep.
Oh, I can never go to sleep after our games. I'm up till at least midnight,
Yeah.
even if I'm playing in the first game.
Yeah.
I go home,
Well, I'm
my
always-
head hits the pillow, and I'm out like a light.
Really?
I wish I had that, man. I cannot fall asleep until like 12 or 1. It just doesn't happen. But, yeah, so I know that he was like frustrated. But I don't know if he really should have been that frustrated. There were a couple of times.
I could have been a little frustrated. I would have been a little frustrated if I was in Gabe's shoes with that.
There were
Some of the
just,
stuff that happened in that game.
I just don't know if there was that many. You know what I mean?
The biggest thing about that game, Gabe's team was never on the 4 side on defense.
No, yeah, never.
That's true.
That's something
Yeah.
that's something to get frustrated about super easily.
I think they didn't handle like Pat's team when they would get the pull. They would move it upfield so quick, and Gabe's team just froze. And they were like, whoa, like you're already at half field. And then you have a 4 side, throw a 4 side, and they're not on 4 side. And I just think also when I was watching it, like with Mike, like we both noticed that like them not running like a solid offense like started to hurt them that game. So I think in previous games, like our game, like they were just kind of like all moving in the middle and it kind of worked. But like I think with Pat's team, like they were able to hold it. And I think they didn't have anything set where they went out there and this is what we're doing. We're just kind of like try to get open.
I wouldn't say no. They definitely weren't running a structured offense, but what it ended up being was just a host act.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It wasn't a structured offense. Like they weren't planning on running it,
Yeah.
but that's what it was.
That's what, yeah.
They just ran a host act with just a lot of switching around the field.
Yeah, I mean, that's, in my opinion, even on a huge wide open field, unless you're at like, not even necessarily club, but maybe club or better, a host act just turns into just a mess. Like it's almost impossible to get a good host act running correctly. So
Host act's just very flowy, so like everything just moves around. So
Right.
you have to, like Gabe's team just kind of ran like a traditional. They started off kind of like hoey, and then they just ended up just flowing around a lot, which is kind of like how a host act normally works. Usually, you're supposed to have like 1 or 2 cuts to start it off, and then it's just supposed to like everyone's supposed to rotate around. It's supposed to get a little flowy. People are supposed to like go in a bunch of different directions. Like you could start all the way on the right, end up all the way on the left, end up in the middle. You just keep switching lanes.
no, exactly. But I feel like that game had a ton of turns.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, that's, yeah.
like
Yeah.
Gabe's team had a
11,
lot.
13,
I'm looking at
14,
Pat's team
15,
too,
16, 17, 18, 21 for Pat's team.
and then 22 for Gabe's. So, 16 for Pat here.
Well, I was looking at drops
Drops
and
too.
turns.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
yeah.
I was just looking at turn.
Oh, gotcha. So yeah,
But yeah,
it's 27 for
27.
Pat's team.
No.
I mean, that's-
go the other way.
no,
Go
no,
the
it's
other
not.
way.
Oh,
The
you're
middle-
right.
Okay, so
27 for Gabe
yeah.
and 21 for Pat. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
about the same ratio as what our game was. I think my team had 21 plus whatever Eli had, and your team had
A lot.
26 or 27 as well.
Yeah. I guess that's true. It is a small field,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I mean, kind of the same thing that we've been saying is like Pat's team also just won that game.
Yeah.
Gabe's didn't
they
necessarily
definitely won
lose
that
it.
game,
Pat's
yeah.
team absolutely won that.
Pat is playing Pat is just throwing like they got 18. He threw half of their assists.
Yeah. I mean, he literally does not have a single point, but has 9 assists.
Yeah.
So like,
He's just mainly back as a handler, just slinging the disc.
Do you see him doing anything like crazy? Are his throws that good, or are his teammates getting that open?
I think it's mostly the teammates, but he's a very good handler. So
Yeah.
it's, the teammates are athletic and open enough to where it's not that challenging for him to hit it.
I think with his team too, it's a lot of mismatch. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't like he can make a great throw. It doesn't have to be amazing, but if he puts it a foot over the defender, Simon is just gonna reach up and grab it. Right?
Yeah.
So like it could be a throw that went a little high, but someone is still gonna get it.
Mm-hmm.
So like it looks like a great throw and a great catch, and it probably is. But like the height difference, like
Yeah.
we played last week, where the height,
Us,
where the
it
height was just like you
insane.
can't do anything about height. Like
I don't know. Mark got on Mark Deed James.
I mean, Mark's the tallest person in the league.
Mark shoulder tackled James.
No.
Watch
No,
it
that was
back.
Matt.
That was Matt.
Oh, sorry, that was Matt.
Oh,
That was Matt.
sure,
You're right.
sure,
You're
sure.
right. My bad.
Mark did not. Mark
Mark was
he
in
did
great position, and then he focused on it so that James had to like overrun it a little bit, and he tried to reach over him, and he couldn't because Mark jumped and is so tall.
Exactly.
Cool. So, Kevin, if you're Team Gabe Blade, what are you looking for moving forward? What kind of offense would you run? Would you stick
Honestly,
with
I'd
the
say
hoe stack?
Stick with like try and run a little bit more structured hoe, maybe just a couple cuts off the start to get it moving.
Yeah.
But right now their flow is pretty fine.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole issue is if there is a turn, they need to play defense. They need to be on the right side. They need to stop any open side because they just gave Pat every open side throw he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter. It was just this is easy open. It made it easy on Pat to make just easy throws. I don't think Pat was like challenged for like a hard throw.
Really?
There were a couple. There were a couple when he was. I remember on like the right hand side where he had to throw like a scooper over the top because he got high in the stall counter. Like one was open like to Woj in the middle, and Woj just goes up and gets everything. So like, he just had to throw those to the middle where he knew he could get them. But like that was the most challenging thing. Like it wasn't like he had to throw it inside forehand or like anything that he had to like skill around somebody.
I don't even consider Pat's scoobers a hard throw for him because he throws them all the time.
Yeah, no,
I've seen him put it out a lot. Yeah,
they're not a hard throw for him. They're an easy break throw for him.
Mm-hmm.
I would not consider that a hard throw.
I mean, considering he had only 5 turns and was obviously their main handler with 9 assists, like that's a great ratio because turns they're just gonna happen. Like that's just how it is.
You also had 4 Ds. Was he going out there and soaking everything up, or was it right time, right place?
I was walking around getting beers.
Miscommunication
I'm
type
not
stuff.
entirely sure.
Right time, right place.
Gotcha.
I mean, I think there's probably a mix of both, but I mean, when they would turn it, they would get back on defense quick enough where if Gabe tried to take a shot to like a middle to start a quick like 1-2 or anything like that, like somebody would be there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas on the inverse, like if Gabe's team turned it, Pat's team ran, like they got to where they needed to go, and Gabe got stuck behind. And there was a couple where they like just made it down the field so quick, and it just happened so quick. There was nothing they could do about it. But
Cool.
Dennis looked good though.
Did he?
Yeah, he didn't play too bad.
This is a monster. We were actually talking to Chase about it. I mean, he's like, I think he's 55 is what Chase said. He's 55 and he looks like that and runs around and jumps and is deep.
Dives
and
around.
like,
Now, I asked this question week 1, never got an answer. Do you think he's on TRT?
Oh, okay. I got a somewhat of an answer. I didn't ask it directly because I didn't want to just be like, yo, dude, you got test? But no. I was talking to Chase about it, like I was saying, and he said that his dad, like, doesn't do anything. Because I was like, how does he, like, what does he do? He's like, I mean, he's active. Like, he'll run.
Oh, you're talking about like when he was telling that he broke his like shoulder?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Skiing or something?
He was water skiing and, like, absolutely shattered his clavicle or something like that, and then was, like, fine in, like, a week or something.
No, he was bedridden for, like...
Oh, right.
He got surgery and was, like... Or I think he was, like... Whatever he broke, he was bedridden for, like, 6 weeks, a month, like, a little, like maybe, like, 2 or 3 months. And he just got back up and was back to his normal self, like, same, didn't lose a beat, is what Chase was saying.
Yeah, I think he said he played basketball or something against Chase and was
Didn't
just
use a
beating
beat,
him and
yeah.
was hey, look at this old man, I'm much better than you. But
When he's 70 and dunks one over his 22-year-old son, then I'll be impressed.
right, exactly.
That's what Mr. Marcic did.
Really?
He didn't dunk it, but he beat him in the post and got a layup. Yeah.
No way. That's awesome.
I have a question. So, Kevin, how close was the game between you and Pat week 1? Do you remember it all? Or?
It was
Ooh,
a
that was
6-point
a close
game,
one, yeah.
3 breaks.
Well,
Okay.
It
I was just,
was
okay,
a
so I was
6-point
about to
game,
ask,
16-10.
do you think having, because
Yeah.
Dennis
Yeah.
wasn't there, do you think having Dennis there would have turned the tides a bit?
A bit, yeah.
I think
would
it's possible.
say. Yeah.
Like another thing of athleticism, I think for sure is
Because
would
I-
help any team.
I had no idea how much of a monster
Dude,
Dennis
he's just
was
an
until
athlete. He's just an
yeah.
athlete. Like
Yeah.
he went out there
Honestly,
just
going to
running.
week 1, it would be really hard because Pat was missing Dennis, but he got Dennis's son. He was also missing Danny. He picked up his brother who's played before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of it's kind of hard to actually say. But I think it would have definitely changed up a bit.
Yeah. That sounds right.
TJ, you owe 7 beers.
Yup, sure
So-
do.
Would you like to explain to Luke what happened last week?
Yeah, I.
Did you listen to the podcast?
I did.
Okay,
All right,
well
then
then
you
you know.
know.
Yeah, but I was now that I'm seeing it, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, there were 6 people there, so I owed 5 beers, and then I owed 2 the week before. So,
Oh my god.
yep.
TJ made a confident bet and it just did
It
not
didn't pan
it did
out.
not pay out well.
Didn't pan out. But
It would have been a lot better for a bet if you just didn't say,
by 5.
5.
Yeah, yeah, you're
We're
right.
going to crush out my 5 points.
You're right.
Because I truly had no idea how the game would go, but I was very confident
It was
we
gonna be
were
less
going
than
to lose by
that.
that
So
much.
I'm curious on how many people noticed the beer bets in the corner.
Oh, I'm sure. Like everybody.
No one said a single thing about it yet, though. So that's what I'm very
It's
curious.
pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's like, hey, what is this? No.
Doesn't just laugh at it.
Oh, man.
That being said, if TJ would have won by 5, then he would have had a monster.
TJ would have had 5
Oh,
beers.
you would have gotten a bag and a half.
Yeah, it would've been- that's why I did it. 'Cause,
2-1 odds for that.
I literally would have had
12
5
beers.
Or no, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it
10
was
beers.
10. Yeah, it was 2-1 odds from that. I forgot about that.
So
That's what made it worth it, but
yeah, it's all right.
I'm just looking at all those stats. Wojo is 16 turns.
Yeah, that's why I flipped over here is to look at the standings and learns because it's amazing to me that my team shows up on drops and turns.
my team only shows up on
That's
bad
because of you last week,
Yeah,
TJ.
it absolutely is.
It's crazy to me that Scott's team is still the lead for turns. At a crisp 6.
Well, we had
That is
35 week one.
It's
Was
not
it
even
35 or
close
was it
to
just
You had like
30?
32 or something.
30 was like
30?
35-ish. Like, around
35
there.
with drops, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the next up is 49 to our 60. Like it's not even.
Yeah, I mean our main issue is coherence on offense, and as we fix that, we'll get better.
Should, yeah.
Well,
So-
the D's will come. We got the team to get plenty of D's. We just gotta have a good offense.
So something I'm noticing from year 1, year 2, kind of when we started doing stats a little bit, and now year 3. Whatever team Gabe is on, he is doing one of everything.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
If you look at league leaders,
touchdowns,
he's
assists.
he's up in the
drops
top
and
3
turns.
for TDs. He's up in the top 3 for assists, and he shows up in the top 3 for Ds.
Yeah,
for his
I will say this for Gabe. Gabe needs a Scottie Pippen. He can't do it all himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is definitely,
And having Ellie on his team helps him a lot with those things.
but he is he's a very valuable player, being able to be
Yeah.
top in Ds, top in assists, and top in Ds.
Oh yeah.
That's why he's a captain.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong chart.
And he didn't even want to.
Well, that being said, so
So
Gabe's entire team is also in touchdowns, assists, drops, turns, and kicks.
Well,
Like, they
it's
have one of everything.
It's
Yeah.
the thing with stats, right? Is especially with only 3 games in the bank, the 2 blowouts that have happened in the league so far are
Yeah.
Skewing.
coincidentally the two teams in first and second place.
Yeah, they're skewing things heavily. And with this, specifically with the teams, I mean, there's only 6 teams. So, like, everybody's going to show up pretty much.
Pretty aggressive.
Except for me. Only on turns.
Wait, my team's in oh wait, no, we're fourth. We're fourth for TDs. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Don't worry, TJ. You'll get up there more.
Oh, we will. For
Yeah, don't worry.
Well, it's actually funny because when you like you look at this and we're only in turns, but when you actually like look at the totals, we're out of everything by like 2.
Yeah.
Like we're just like barely not there. So we're fine. Well, next week.
Yeah, next week. Let's think about next week.
What do we got? Us. We could go right into that.
Yeah, what's game one?
What's
Game
game
one
one?
is
Yeah, we're prime time, so we'll wait.
We'll start from this.
It's my first prime time.
Week
Uh,
4, 2v3.
So Gabe,
Gabe and Dan.
Dave and Dan. Oh boy.
the Invisible. Oh boy. I don't. It's tough, man.
So we have no offense versus the team with the dun hammer.
Gabe's team's gonna win.
I think that's the
Oh, that's
easy-
for sure.
It's a hot
For sure.
take, Mike.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's an easy bet. It's fun to. Like it really is fun to root for Dan, though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's just not gonna work.
Unless he comes out.
I think it
surprises,
can, though.
Like,
I don't know.
I think
You
this is
gotta
going to
look
sound
at
pretty
the-
critical. I think it could if Dan were willing to hand over more of the reins of his offense to his teammates.
I think he is, though. Honestly, I think he says he's not, and he like wants to be the main handler, and he'll probably try to stick to being the main handler. But I think he's really is trying to like teach, and give them input and like whatnot. He's just Dan, and he has his name as league villain, and like you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
I think he's just going aggressive on some of these. What he's trying to teach.
Yes,
He'll
that's true.
probably try and like
that's true.
slow it down for a minute and just start a little easier.
I think that was actually one of our main problems with this week that just happened. Is Mark and I were both just like, all right, here's everything we know about frisbee, and then I think they all tried to like absorb it, and they definitely did, but it was too much. So we're just now back to like let's run around and have some fun.
yeah. I mean, if I think about it with Dan's team, like if you just take my team for example, you have like me, Kevin, Madeline, Higgy, and Matt. Like we can all handle, and we can all be dependable back there as well. And with Dan's team, you have Dan, you have Ross who can. I haven't seen Josh really handle. But, like nobody else is really like Dan and Ross can't leave the handler set and have like.
Well, they have Jan.
They have Jan.
So even with 3 there, like it's still like one of them has to be back in that handler set, you know. And I think that's where it may fall apart. Is one of them has to be a part of that. They can't like play matchup that way or anything. But it just comes down to working through your team that way, I guess.
Yep. I don't. Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll go around the horn, Mike. Give us a little bit and what your final score is.
I mean, I think I'm hoping the final score was similar to when Scott's team faced Gabe, because then that's going to really like tone down the whole. Oh, we got 19 to something.
There's no need to tone it down. We owned it. We've come back.
Yeah, I think you guys have very much shown that that's not.
Yeah.
That was the first week.
But still, so it's really tricky because like Dan, I'm not sure how Dan chooses to change things if he's like going to be solely the only handler. Because as we were discussing, like Pat is pretty much like one of the only handlers for his team, but it's still like it's working out well. Like they're just playing smart.
They know how to
moving
play
the
with
disc.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel as long as Dan is able to do that as well, then I don't see why they can't beat Gabe's team. But I just don't think they're going to be able to do that.
In the next week.
Mm-hmm.
Not even in the next week, and by Thursday.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Well,
It's Monday.
So what do you think the final score is going to be?
20-6.
20
Wow,
to 6. Goodness.
One worse than you.
Once we do this, I have an idea for something we can do to make a bet on Dan's team worth it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Keep going around.
I'm gonna say I would say Gabe's team's win, but I think it's gonna be like 15-9.
Okay.
I think it'll be a little closer than people expect. Cause I feel like Dan may put a couple points together. Because I think once his team scores a couple points in a row, they start to get going, and that may help him. But I just don't think it's gonna be enough. I think it'll be close in the first half, but then like Gabe will just come out in the second half and start putting stuff together.
All right. That's a reasonable take. Kevin?
So what I think is going to happen, what I'm hoping
Here
is
we
going to
go.
happen, is Dan's going to stay off the tequila a bit before the game. just a little bit off the game.
Just a tad.
Or
Nah.
give Jan a little bit of tequila because he's had a rough 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, he had 7 drops last week, and the week before he had a
Jane's
lot.
not 21.
This is fair, but still.
We do not condone
Yeah.
underage.
No,
we do
that
not.
will never
I
happen.
have no problem with underage drinking, but like we not there, not from
That's
like
true.
the
Yeah.
place that's
Yeah.
renting
Can't
to
be.
us.
Bring your parents' permission slip or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll-
Written consent.
What I'm saying is just something to like calm. Like Dan's gonna try and figure out how to calm Jan
Yeah.
down and like kind of get him under, like get him back on his game. Because week 1 he played pretty well. Week 2 he had some issues. Week 3 he had some issues.
We put a lot of pressure.
As long
on
as he
him, too,
keeps-
and that-
As long as he just gets back to normal, I think it's going to be. Gabe's gonna win by 1. I think it's gonna.
By
Dan's
one.
just gonna
Ooh.
come back and
You think
lose
it's gonna
by
be a
1
comeback?
again.
You think it'll be?
Wow.
To be fair, they almost won. Dancing almost won last week. They're almost sent it to like Universe, right?
For
Is that
the first 2 weeks, yeah.
The first 2
The
weeks.
first
my-
week
oh,
it
I-
was
my-
Universe.
That's right, yeah, the
Yeah.
first
The
week.
second
it was.
week
The
it
last one was that
almost
drop
got
in the
sent
end
to
zone on the
Universe,
hammer.
yeah.
We played them last week.
Oh,
Yeah.
Come on, Luke.
oh, yeah.
That almost went to Universe? That's okay.
Yep, it was close.
Oh, Dan walked out. He's like, next point, Universe.
Yeah.
Well, was there a fifth quarter? I'm unaware.
Yeah.
Dan did his signature. Next point wins.
Of course. Okay, wins by 1. All right, give me an actual score. Just throw a random score up.
I'm gonna guess 13-12.
Okay. Wow. All right. That's a pretty hot take, Kevin.
It's a hot take,
That
but
means
I
there'll be a
believe
lot
in
of
my buddy.
possession.
so
I
that's
believe in my buddy coming back into this.
that's where I was gonna go. Is it's so fun to root for Dan, and like he's a good player and he's a good teacher. So I just feel like it's kind of up to the team to glue and fall in place and like figure their stuff out. But Gabe is so fired up from last week that I don't know. I see their entire team coming with like a super competitive, just like
Like on a vengeance.
yeah, like I'm just
on a
gonna
tear.
shove this game down your throat.
But that
Just-
also could be their downfall, though.
right. It could, but I don't. The thing is, I don't think they're gonna take it in like we're gonna breeze by them. Like I don't think they're overconfident. I think they're like hyped. Do you know what I mean? Like the slight difference there?
Like they're saying we're gonna win this game, but they're not saying we're gonna win it by 20.
Right. Exactly. But I want same as last week. I want Dan to win. He's not gonna happen. Gabe's gonna win. I'll give him. I'm gonna say 17-13. Gabe.
Okay. I think matchup wise, Gabe's team has 3 people who can come pretty close to locking down Dan's top 3 people, and 4 people who are below that who are gonna get a lot of points. And for that reason, I don't think it's going to be super close. I do think Dan's going to get a couple points because you can't always have the same line out there. You're going to get mismatches eventually, but the people who are going to be playing most of the game are not going to give good matchups to Dan's team. Because I truthfully, I don't know how much sitting Gabe's done. I don't see Gabe
He
sitting.
actually said a decent amount.
I was gonna say the exact time. Well, maybe towards the end he might have, but
Oh yeah, that's it. They were
I was
close.
noticing that at least in the first half he literally
In the first
didn't
half, yeah,
sit.
the first.
I don't see Gabe sitting more than like 2 points the whole game.
Yeah.
Which is not good for Dan's team.
Right.
For that reason, I'm gonna say 18-11, and since we don't have a way to bet on this, we could do like an over-under thing. Where I think that Gabe's team is going to lose by
Wait,
six.
what Gabe's team is gonna lose?
I think that Dan's team is going to lose by 6 points or greater. Does anyone want to take the under on that?
I would take the under on that. I think. Yeah, I'll take the under on that. I'm not super confident that they'll win, but I think that Dan's gonna.
I'll take the under. Yeah, I'll take
Dan's
the
gonna come
under.
hard.
Okay.
I think it'll be a lot. I think it'll be a lot closer than people think.
And according to Kevin, he's got to take the under. He's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
win by 1.
If I want to.
Kevin may double
So,
down and just say over.
just to be clear, 6-point victory, I win. 5-4, 3-2, 1, or a loss, you guys win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can I go with the over on this one, or is there not an over?
No,
No, you
I'm the over.
If
So
you
you can join me in a team bet. I'm not
Join
sure
us
how we
out
do a
with
3-on-2 bet though.
True. Are you getting in, Kevin?
I feel like I have to. I feel like I
He's
have to.
obligated
With what
to
I
go
said.
under.
Just
You
do the
should-
3-0, the 2, and then the 2-0-3. Does that work?
But that's not like even odds.
Unless you're saying 2 to
2-1.
each of us, and I don't know.
So like if
You
if,
would
Yeah,
pay
if
so
the
three.
under,
I'd owe you 3-1. Scott would owe you 3-1 if it's under.
We could double it.
If it's
So
over,
so
then
we owe you each 1,
you
and
threw
you
Yeah.
each owe us 2 apiece. So
One
that
apiece.
that way we get six beers in each side of the bet. Is what I'm saying.
I see what you mean.
So Mike and I each owe you 1, and then Kevin owes me 2. TJ owes Mike 2. You owe us 1 each.
yeah, I'm
I think
Yeah,
what
fair
I
enough.
said made a
That's
lot
fair.
of sense.
yeah, that works.
Okay, cool.
What
Alright.
I said made a lot of
We'll be
sense.
corrected if not.
Yeah, it doesn't-
That's okay.
it
So,
does-
did you say the same thing I said?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sort of.
Sorry.
Dan, please don't let me down.
Yeah,
Please, dear,
6
please.
points.
we're fine.
This is a hot
You know what?
take.
Okay, let's do this as a sort of gentleman's. If Dan ends up winning it, we all owe him a beer.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Oh,
a fucking
that's
good
So
one.
it wash if he wins.
It washes
Yeah, I think it
entirely.
just washes. If he wins, we all owe Dan a beer.
Yeah,
That's really
Make
good.
it
I
like-
like that.
because none of us. voted.
Now it gives Dan not the thing to just be like, I'm gonna fuck one of them over.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that's true.
he's playing for 5 beers.
He's
Five
playing
beers,
for
that would
5
be-
beers.
He's playing for, yeah. Where would that put him on the beer standing?
Good point.
I'm throwing
That
Where
might
would that
be-
put him on the beer standing.
He might be top if he gets all 5. Yeah, he would easily be
He would
top
be
if he
top.
gets all 5.
Oh,
Dan's right now winning on a high with these beer bets.
Yeah.
Not owing anyone anything.
That's so true.
oh
Damn.
man.
TJ's in debt. TJ's
Yeah.
in big debt.
Yeah.
Ask Scott. Scott and Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be in the hole. I mean, I've been making fairly conservative bets so far.
yeah. Yeah.
This is the
Oh,
first
only-
really like hot one I've come out with.
The only bet I took was TJ's. We're gonna win by 5. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only bet I took so far.
Well, don't worry. This is I started that hot bet, and now I'm like so deep in the red that in order to get back, I just got.
You gotta
You got- you
dive
gotta
in,
go for it.
dive further
All
in.
of my bets are gonna be insane. So
That's
All right,
we're ready.
all right. So that's
That's
we got
gonna
it
get-
documented in case we forget what that
Yeah.
how that convoluted thing is gonna work because
Very
there's
true.
like 3 possible outcomes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then so that was that
Such
game.
a horrible game to bet on.
no, but that's what makes it great.
What's the next game? We've got
Next
Dan
game
we've
is
got you
Scott
and-
versus Pat on field
Ooh.
3. So
Okay.
same field we played last week.
oh, I don't like that field.
Yeah,
I like it
don't
better. I
either.
think it's brighter in there. It's easier to see the
It's
disc.
You
brighter.
think so?
I think, okay, the reason why I don't like it is because I
Turf
was
is
told
better
that it
than that one.
would be a lot cooler in there, so I like dressed like
Yeah.
sort of like with Under Armour and stuff. Not Under Armour, but I wore a little bit of layers.
Yeah.
But I was just sweating that entire time. It was just like, wow, this feels.
It was also a very warm day.
It was a
Yeah,
warm
that's
day,
true.
And they had the heaters on for the bench. They weren't on outside,
Oh, that makes
but
sense.
they were on for the bench. So
Okay.
Um,
Well, yeah, I was steamy.
Yeah, Scott, how do you feel going into this?
yeah, Captain, give me
I
some.
feel good. I think we match up well. I think Pat's not going to get as many easy ones. I don't see him having 9 assists. I feel pretty much the exact same about that game as I did about our game, where I truly have no idea how it's going to go. I think we match up better than a lot of other teams do against Pat.
You do have some height and good athleticism there that can
Yeah.
stop that.
It's really, a lot of it's just going to come down to how well we run our offense. they turn the disc over enough that we should get our fair share of chances. We just got to take advantage of them.
I think that's a huge key, specifically, is taking advantage of them, because I'm in the sort of unique position of having played both of you already, to where you both play extremely similar. So like I'm pretty curious to see this, and finally I'll get to watch the games. But that's exactly it. Is I think there's a chance that either team could just dominate.
Yeah.
In the sense that they don't make a lot of mistakes, and the other team just doesn't have a chance to do it, because you're very evenly matched skill wise, I think, or at least athleticism wise.
Yeah.
And I want to say that Pat's team probably has a slight advantage, basically just by having Pat.
Yeah.
But the more well-rounded team that you have, in my opinion, has a better shot at actually winning.
See, I think if Scott's team does well enough to stop Pat from having anything easy, that his team can cruise. If they stop Pat from doing what he's just because if Pat just goes, I'm just gonna do this, and he does it, then he's fine. But if they make him make decisions, I think that could be really good for him.
The height thing is huge because that's what Pat's been winning off of every single time. Not just height. They're athletic for sure, but you guys have the second highest team, so you're going to be able to stop that.
I think the thing that's going to be important for my team is not getting tilted when they score easy points, because Pat's going to throw a hammer or two to Wojo in the end zone for free. Or a Scuba, or it's going to happen, and as long as we can
limit that.
Not even limit it, just because it's not a good play for him to do it every time. It's basically just let him do it. He can't do it consistently enough to make a difference. Kind of an attitude towards it. As long as we can, keep our heads about us, we should be fine.
Yeah, and I think you can, because you don't really have a tilty team. I mean, honestly, I think Mike's probably the most tiltable. Well, maybe Ferris, but you two are the most tiltiest, and neither of you are
Well, the only way to tilt Scott is have Mike Long tilt Scott.
True.
To be fair, 90% of me tilting is me choking.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't think you guys will have a mentality issue.
But I have been more tilted this season than I have throughout any time playing Frisbee.
I have been too.
But I think that's just the competitive nature finally coming out.
And that's what I'm saying is we're finally in a actual competitive setting, and that makes me so happy. But
one thing I saw online, someone, I was trying to read up stuff about specifically indoor Frisbee strategy, and someone said something I thought that was kind of interesting, which was the emotions and the competitiveness and the seriousness of it feels way more intense during indoor Frisbee than it does even during outdoor and big games and stuff, because it's right there and you can hear everything, and it's the walls are closing in on you, and it really gets to you a lot more, heightens it a lot.
No, that is definitely true. But all right, so round the horn. Start with Scott. What do you think?
I think we'll win. It'll be close, but we'll be in control. I think our offense is going to come together. We'll score more points than we have so far. I think they're going to take advantage of some easy ones on defense. 16-14.
Okay. A solid 2-point win. I could definitely see that happening. I think this will be very close. I think there's no way that either team's getting ahead by 4 more, honestly. It's going to be very close. So, man. I'm going to go with Pat, I think, barely. I think it will... Screw it. I'll make a universe thing. I think it's going to go to universe. I think that it'll be back and forth the entire time. No one's going to be clearly in the lead. You'll get ahead slightly at the end of the end of the game, essentially, and then Pat is going to turn it on with Wojo, and then James and Matt, who he has really good chemistry with, and they're going to come back, and it's going to be universe. And it's honestly a coin flip at that point, but I'm going with Pat.
That makes sense.
Prove me wrong. Kevin?
I'm gonna have to go with Scott. As long as Scott's team has a good force, I think they're done playing their week 1 bad game.
They got it. They got it out of the way.
Don't be confident in Kevin. I don't like this. When Kevin's on my side, I don't know. I don't know how
Scott's
to
like,
feel
can I change
about
my
it.
answer?
I think it's going to be 14-12. Scott.
I'm gonna go with Scott too. I just think his well-rounded team will be more than Pat's few pieces that he can put together. And I think he'll round it out in the end. I think Scott's gonna win 16-11.
Damn.
After Mike Long, can we circle back around to the bet because I'm really confused on it right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll give me a good chance to make sure I understand it. Too.
I mean, it's my team, so it's like, can I vote for Pat?
What the bet?
I
What's the
really,
bet?
okay,
Yeah.
so if I'm speaking honest, I think it's gonna be a real nail biter. I think it's gonna come down to Universe,
Then it's a toss-up.
and then I think that Pat's team's gonna win the toss-up.
You think it's because Wojo's going to posterize Scott in the end
I
zone?
think that it's just gonna posterize someone in the end zone, and then it's just gonna be. If it's Universe, then I think they win it. If we're able to keep it out of Universe, then
Who do you think is going to
I think
posterize in the end
it's
zone?
either gonna be Universe they win, or we just straight up win by 1.
Yeah.
If it's Universe and they win by 1 and Wojo posterized someone in the end zone, who's it going to be?
Man, I don't even think that's gonna happen now.
Well,
Scott.
So
Well,
something
Not
something I've noticed that Wojo does a lot is Wojo, when he gets tired, he kind of saves his gas tank for one last explosive
Yeah.
time to. I gotta
I
do
need
it
to
now,
score a
so I'm
point,
gonna.
yeah.
Even I would run sprints with him after our workouts 2 years ago, and we do 8 hill sprints. He wins the first 3 because he's fast as shit. I won 4 through 7 because I just had more endurance and I wasn't that much slower than him at the time. And then he comes back and absolutely wrecks me at number 8 because it's the last one.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that happening if we put ourselves in that position.
I fully agree with if you can keep it out of Universe, if you can keep a lead, you guys win.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll happen. I think you'll slip towards the end. Because of
Okay,
that.
so
Yeah.
gas tank wise, never mind. I'll
You
talk to
guys
you about
have
this would be
This game,
Sure.
I'm actually going to be pretty invested in because this decides who's second seed right now.
Yeah.
Ooh, true.
Yeah.
Because right now, Pat is ahead in point differential.
Oh yeah. And he's gonna be for a while.
Yeah, he's going to be for a while, but if Scott takes this victory,
That's
Scott
huge.
leapfrogs him in,
Yeah.
even with being
He's
behind in
not
points.
that ahead of you. I mean, that's pretty big, but
I mean,
that's
minus
11.
9 to
11.
11.
11. But
Oh, he's only at 2. That's
Yeah.
less than I thought.
right. So
I
Okay,
saw,
yeah.
I saw Kevin score.
Kevin's 27.
yeah. Well, this doesn't help. Damn being minus 20.
Yeah, it's bonkers. But yeah, no. That's the other thing too. Is this game has possibly one of my favorite matchups in any frisbee I've ever played. Is Matt Ferris and James.
Yeah.
So what do you like about that matchup so
They're
much?
just exactly even.
They're almost
They're
as
like-
tall as Mark.
They're so not height because James has
Yeah,
Matt
yeah.
height beat by an inch or two.
So are you saying James is also as clumsy as Matt?
Kinda.
Okay.
That's the whole thing.
Oh.
They're both have the same level of they're too long for themselves. Do you know what I mean?
I think Matt's gotten way better,
Better
at
at
controlling
that.
that.
Absolutely. But that's why he sort of makes up a little bit for
Yeah.
James being slightly taller. And it's just such a good matchup because they can go out for high balls together and it's I don't know, I just love watching it.
I've also, having
Well, we're
watched
gonna get to watch it.
half
I
a
know.
game of James, I've never really played with him
Yeah.
that much. I've never really seen him actually jump for something, and Matt does
Right.
get off the ground pretty well.
James jumps pretty well. He's like a classic tall person where he doesn't really have to jump.
Yeah.
So he's never
Yeah.
launching Mario style. He just gets up and he's already
Yeah.
a foot over everyone. So
Okay, so got all that out of the way.
yes.
Bet.
Circle around to the
Circle
beer
around
bet.
Bet.
To the back. So it was Dan and Gabe.
Dan and Gabe. So The bet is I think they're gonna win.
By
Gabe is gonna
6.
win by 6 or more. So if the 17-11, Mike and I win. 17-12, you three win.
But if
And
Dan
the-
wins,
and
he gets it all.
And Dan wins, he gets.
If
5
Dan
beers.
wins, he gets 5 beers. Our bet's canceled.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what it is I would owe you 1. I would owe Mike 1.
So we would have to decide exactly of you three who owes who what. But basically, you three would owe us 6 beers, and we would owe you 6 beers. So with us, it's easy because it's just 1 apiece. Mike, I owe you 1, you 1, you 1. Mike owes you 1, you 1, you 1. With us, you're each throwing 2 over the fence,
So it's
but
like
we end up with 3.
TJ owes Scott 2, you owe Mike 2, and I owe Scott 1, and I owe
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
I was just making sure it wasn't going to be I owe Scott 2. I also owe Mike Long 2. I'm like, there's no way.
No.
that
It's
one.
you owe 2 total on
Okay.
your side of the bet.
Okay, that's fine.
Which we could just do.
I just wanted to make sure because I was like thought for a minute. I'm like, wait, do I have to owe both of them too? Because now I'm definitely want to retract that
Yeah.
before this podcast is over.
Having to explain the second time, you were saying the exact same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Well,
Okay, cool.
because I think what Mike was saying is the easiest way to do that is just each of us owes both of you a beer.
Okay. But I think it's important to get it going back the other way even too.
Well, it is
Okay.
Yeah, because
You know what I
then we both would all them beer.
2, or not 2.
Well,
sorry.
you owing us each a beer would be 6 beers for us.
Yeah.
And this way, we're only getting 3, and you're only getting 2. We're keeping the odds
What?
lower.
No, because you guys
No,
would
you're-
each give
No,
us.
because remember we did 2 to 1.
You're still throwing 3
4, 5,
beers
6.
over,
Yeah.
and we're throwing 3 beers over.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6.
Yeah, so
There's still 6 beers going
So
back.
we
and
know
forth.
what we're saying. It doesn't.
Yeah, we're
Doesn't
we're
matter.
all good.
The fact I understand what Mike meant is irrelevant. I'm just done.
This would be the same thing as if I give you 1, I give Mike 1, TJ gives you 1, TJ gives Mike 1, and Luke gives you 1, and Luke gives Mike 1. The same amount of beers we're giving out if I gave you 2, Scott, TJ gave
Dude, I
Mike
think
2,
I
and then
don't
Luke
know what
split.
Scott's talking about because like right now it's just like we're
Doesn't matter, we
technically-
understand.
We're technically spending more.
I'm
to
getting
buy
so
a
much
whole
more
other
confused
beer.
the more we're
Yeah.
trying to
But
explain
then at
it.
the same time, if we win, we're getting a whole other beer.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's, like, it's all even.
Wonderful.
Final matchup.
Prime time.
Prime time.
It's going to be a sad prime time.
Kevin versus TJ.
Oh, man. Well, we're going to win. Smile. No, I don't know. I think we have the opportunity to, but it's going to be a very difficult game, and you guys are going to have to not play your best. So we'll see how it goes. I think, I genuinely think that our team is learning to be a team, and like, I hope nobody feels like they're like just not playing well. So I feel like we need to just have people get in there, have fun, get open.
Keep their heads up.
Yeah, keep their heads up, catch it, dump it. Like, if we just play Frisbee, we actually will put up a fight against you. And I think there's,
There's a chance.
special circumstances we could win, but it's going to be tough. I'm the captain, and we're going to win. I got it. It's happening. But it's going to be a tough game. So, we'll see. What do you think?
You're about to get
Dumpstery.
Nah, I think it's gonna be a lot better than last weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can definitely confidently say I will not lose by.
18.
20.
Yeah,
18, yeah.
you know what? No, we're not losing by 8. We're losing less than 8. Guaranteed.
Okay, yeah.
Not bad.
Guaranteed.
You haven't played Gabe's team yet, have you?
If we have beefcake back, because I think
We'll have
something
beefcake
that that kind of was unfortunate for Dan
Yeah.
was me not having beefcake.
That is true. That
I
is-
didn't want to bring. I thought that'd be mean to say.
It's a little mean to say,
No.
but I think it's definitely was.
It's
like,
a factor.
Yeah, because that's part of the game too. Is like you have matchups that are like bad. Like you have
You
people
just have a
who-
bad matchup.
right? Like you have people that are less skilled than
Like-
other people
Like,
on the field when that's just people need to sit.
like
I don't
towards-
think it would have helped out like too much, mainly because I probably would have just had beefcake on Jan the entire time.
Yeah.
It would not have made a
Yeah, it would-
20 whatever point.
18
difference.
point
But like
Plus.
even if you look at it like towards the end, like when I hugged one deep. It was like Vince was on Higgy, and that's literally a foot difference. And I was just like, all right,
Yeah.
go.
Right.
It's just like that matchup. You can, like, as much as you want to be like, oh, I feel bad exploiting that. Like, you just can't not ignore it. You know, I think it'll be a lot closer this week,
But
though.
yeah, anyway, I'd probably say
But I know.
I think the game's gonna go. I think it's not gonna be too high scoring. You have some pretty good defensive players.
Yeah, I think you guys have been relying on the fact that you're just better for a lot of your points so far, and your offense might not be as cohesive as you'd like when you have to play against a good defense.
Yeah,
That's my take.
that's very true. I'm probably gonna say it's gonna be 13-11.
Okay.
I buy that.
Yeah, our games haven't been wildly high scoring at all yet compared to like what I've seen other ones have. So that's definitely a factor. Is
It's definitely going up the trend. Yeah.
we take our time. Well, we want to take our time in offense, and we're not terrible at defense. So
Wait, sorry, I forgot to say one more thing about Scott's game.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So our very first game,
Michael Owens can
We,
shit the bed.
we ended up after going 19-6, like it was just like, hey, we're gonna change our names. That's like the deciding factor of this, and we have not like lost the game since changing the name.
yeah.
So you're
been
going
2
back to
games.
Scott's
So
ties.
it's like we win this one, then it's like, and so right now, Huck Dynasty is actually 3-0 because Gabe won the first game.
Yeah.
And then
And he sold the franchise for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, so here's the question, because at one point, I think week 2 or whatever, said that you were the team eater.
I
so-
never said that. I think Dan
Oh,
said
okay.
that.
Did they?
Yeah, Dan said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, so then
that being
my
said as well, I came up with a new name that I think we should totally use.
Oh.
Huh?
Hot take. What is it?
What is it?
Pose before throws.
So here's the thing.
So
Huck Dynasty is working.
No, it is. No,
So-
this is like the last resort.
So Scott, if you lose your next game, does that mean your team
You
naming
change your name.
changing your team name because it's all
Depends on the situation. If we lose a close one, I think Huck Dynasty could still work. Huck Dynasty will be 3-1 at that point. That's a winning record.
So what your team's all focused on then is your team name is what's making you win or lose games.
I mean, we're also
Like,
trying
yeah,
to
fucking
play
Huck
well.
Dynasty.
I'm like, there's nothing wrong to
Yeah.
something to play for.
The team
Why
names
not?
are why the records are how they are right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Easily.
Ugh.
Okay.
But all right, so what were you saying?
Okay. I think, like you said, it won't be super high scoring because I think both of our teams like can defend well against each other. Just like thinking about the matchups, like I think both teams have good matchups against each other, but there will also be times where there will be like very exploitable matchups. I think.
Yeah.
I think how each team plays that I think will be important. Just because it's sometimes like you feel bad exploiting some matches, but it's like you have to do it almost. Like just looking at this right now, like you have Ryan, Matt Ferris.
Yeah,
or no,
that's not
Scott
the
Steele.
right team, bud.
There it is. Like
Or-
even
or-
yeah, like Mark, you, Zach, like everyone, like you have enough people on your team where like you can exploit a matchup easily. I think it's the same the inverse as well. So I think I'm confident to say we'll win. But I think it's gonna be like 13-10. Like I think it'll be a close game, but I think like towards the end we'll maybe pull a break, and then then it forces, like, even as you said last week, like it forced you guys to almost go into that hero ball mentality. Like even if you're trying to stay off it, sometimes you just hit it.
Mhm.
You know, and you just have to.
Yeah.
How many points did you sit during the second half of our game, TJ?
Second half,
Because it felt like you were playing a lot.
I definitely was playing like without a doubt the most I played this year.
Yeah.
'Cause First week I was trying not to play a ton,
Yeah.
and then I hurt myself. So second week I barely played,
Mhm.
and then, yeah, I don't know. I would say I probably sat a good, maybe like 4 in the second half.
Okay.
One of the huge factors to that was, like I was saying, our conditioning.
Yeah.
There were 3 or 4 people that were just like, I can't go out there and play another point right now. So
Yeah.
I was like, well, guess I'm staying.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's exactly true. I think that this week's matchups are a little bit more favorable than Scott's for our team.
Yeah.
But there's Kevin and Johnny. So it's like, Does that make up for it? Probably, yeah. But
I think if Kevin's cutting, you're forcing someone who isn't Kevin the fourth throw the frisbee. If you can just restrict their options, you're in a good spot.
I've been
That's-
cutting all season.
Listen,
That's the
Kevin
thing,
has
though.
not started in the handler set
Yeah.
once.
Yeah,
He
well,
wants
that's what
to
I'm saying.
cut.
If he's cutting, then you're already starting off with probably the thing you want, which is Kevin not throwing the frisbee.
See, but that
See,
can
but-
easily
but that-
change.
but that means Kevin's cutting, and I don't want Kevin cutting.
He just doesn't want me on the
I
field.
don't at all.
Get off the field.
I think that at the level we play the game, he's much more dangerous as a handler than a cutter.
I agree.
And him trying to handle, it gives you an overdrive you can go into if you need to.
Yes.
But also, if you're adamant on handling or on cutting, it's probably easier to shut down the other guys who are going to be throwing the disc than it would be you.
That's fair
Definitely,
take.
definitely
That's a
agree
fair
with
take.
that. But yeah, it becomes down to can Palms stop Johnny? That's kind of how the whole thing crumbles
You're
because
gonna have Paul on Johnny.
You're gonna
Paul be on it for but
yeah.
Which
so
can
I-
Zach
I
and
wanted to
Paul.
see the
And
matchup
Palms or
between
Paul?
Paul and Johnny.
Oh yeah, no, I think it'd be a pretty
Because
good
I didn't
one.
know
It'll
how
be a
much
good
of
matchup.
That'll be
how much of a monster Paul was until like 2 weeks
Oh no,
ago.
he's very good. But no, exactly. Like, can Palms and Paul stop Johnny? That's basically what it crumbles to. Because, like you're saying, I think we have good enough defense to shut down most other throwers from doing exactly what they want, which is all you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, we just got to come up with some good plays, some good Ds, and then really, truthfully, while we're on offense, we got to just calm down, play good D or play offense.
So here's a interesting point. I don't think Kevin's team has ever been like behind a game yet.
No, we have. We
Yeah.
started off
Yeah.
behind.
Pat's
Okay.
good, Pat's good.
Well, okay, then behind in like the second half.
No,
How much were you behind in that game? Pat?
they
Two?
went up. They went up the first break, and we didn't get it back until halfway through the first half.
Oh, you're
So
not
two.
used. You're not used to losing.
Right.
You
Well,
don't know
I
how to
think
play
that,
from
like,
behind.
I think that playing from behind at the very least will ignite Johnny and Kevin because I've seen them play from behind.
Yeah.
And-
Well, Johnny
So,
will-
so
Johnny
what
will
you're
go-
telling what you're telling TJ is to like stay
Not-
close and you
Yeah,
just
just-
try and sneak past.
They're 1 point behind the entire time. And
What-
they-
Be like, guys,
One
we're gonna
thing-
intentionally
Shut the
lose.
One thing I
all
will
game.
say from having been on his team is that when Johnny goes down, he goes into a little bit of a "I'll be
Oh, I
open
need to
deep"
put the team on
kind
my
of a
back.
mode.
Right.
Like just I'll be open deep, just hit me.
Yeah.
Um.
Which, as long as we can stop,
Right.
then that's great. But, right. Especially if that's at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I don't think we will because,
Yeah.
Conditioning, like
yeah.
you said.
I mean, even me.
I mean, Johnny's just
So,
like a freak. Like
Right.
all game, he's running the same speed. It's just like even like towards the end of the Dan's game, like we were up by whatever, and like he was like, "Just hit me deep." Just I'm like, dude. I'm like, okay, but like we're
Oh, he
up
fucking
by,
loves running it up
we're up by
too.
17. Like
That
we're-
dude is not like has no understanding for like respect or
Yeah.
mercy.
I still like my long strategy with TJ just stay a point behind all the way into
Yeah.
the game and just,
And then
and
leap
just
over.
try and leapfrog.
Yeah.
So, we'll win the toss, give it to you. No. We'll win the toss. We'll win the toss and pull to you
Score
and
one.
let you get the break, and then just
and then
be on
just kinda
serve the
just,
entire
like,
time, and then at the end.
And they're like, all right,
Just
guys,
leapfrog
last
at the
3
end.
points, go.
But
Good. That's a
What do you think
bold
it's gonna be?
strategy, Mike. I like
It's
it.
gonna be
Bold strategy. See how
What
it
do you think
pays
the
off.
score's gonna be?
Man, I really wanted TJ to pull through with this.
No one wants my team
Wanted.
to win anymore.
He says past tense.
But then I saw the matchups. I saw all of Kevin's team. And then, like, in my mind, I'm just like, oh, man, yeah, TJ, like, you can like, stay on Kevin. Or, like, I was like, Mark, he can probably be on Kevin pretty well. And then, like, I went down, like, the entire line, and then I was just like, oh, fuck. I forgot about Matt Marsick.
Yeah, exactly.
And
'Cause
then I
Matt-
forgot about Higgy.
Yeah,
And then I keep forgetting that, Luke, you're on that team as well. And then after I go through all that, it's just like, okay, well, now
Nah,
no one's
fuck.
guarding Benjamin. And so if he, like, does anything, he's going to fucking go down and score.
Yep.
Yeah, Kevin's going to win, like, 15-10.
Okay. All right.
All right, yeah.
That's under 8, so we're aligned. Scott, you kind of already gave your take.
Yeah,
but-
well, I thought I already gave it. I thought I said like
You said, like,
13,
13,
11.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
you're right.
you
Yeah,
said
we
you.
started with you. You're right.
Yeah.
All right. So I need to make some sort of outrageous bet.
You need to make some.
I need to gain 7 somehow. So how
What
much-
is it?
Hey, Tommy, you're the one who wants to. You're trying to entice us to do it, so we better get some pretty good odds.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are some good odds. What are we talking?
Man, I think I might pass on the bet this week.
We already bet once, and
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think I might pass on my own team
I have
bet.
a bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Johnny will make 5 foul calls
5?
at least.
Oh.
That's a lot.
That's
That is a lot. That's something I would be willing to
At
bet because it's
least.
not like outcome driven.
You could make a bet on how many points he'll throw for.
Like, as
Bet
in
how many
assists
assists
or-
Johnny will get.
Okay.
How many
See, but here's the issue though: is Johnny
He already has nine.
each game he has 15.
That's
D's,
TDs.
So that's
9.
No,
He
9.
still has 9 assists though.
He still has 9 assists. So like you hit him deep, and he always catches it with like 1 or 2 steps
Yeah.
before the end zone and just drops it. So
Yeah.
like there's a chance, or drops it in as in
Yeah.
But there's always that chance where like, oh, he will only have 4 assists. Like he could easily have 8 or 9 in a game just because you hit him long and then you just like somebody's opening the end zone. Done. So like,
I mean, that was sort of my way to get him like during outdoor, because he like someone would like throw it over his head and then just like sprint out and try to like jump up and get it. I'm not going to beat him during that.
Yeah.
So my goal is to just look at his feet and see where they land. And it's always like a foot
you're not in.
out.
You're not in. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess whoever's guarding Johnny, if he needs to do a jump ball and he's right by the line, look at them toes, see where he's at.
I think the only way that Johnny calls that many fouls is a close game, which hopefully is true. But I don't see it being that many. That I don't see him being that
Although-
like competitively aggressive.
Kevin claims that his team may not have won against Gabe if it weren't for calls.
It's
You
very
you
weird.
you said in the
Yeah.
podcast that you thought there were 3 points worth of bad calls.
I felt bad about one. I felt really bad about something I did to Gabe, so that's one of the main reasons I did that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about it, so we're not talking about it.
What did you do to Gabe?
That doesn't matter. I'm not
Yeah,
talking
no,
about
what
it.
did you do to
You
Gabe?
can just say that and say, we gotta respect Kevin's opinion. I'm gonna force it out of you when that's my gun.
I don't respect
Fair,
shit.
fair.
But
I see what he's saying. I don't know. I just think after the game we had against Gabe's team, like, yes, there were fouls. I don't think they changed that. Like, I think there was a chance they could change it, but I don't think they do. I think it's still a close game either way. But I think after that, he learned his lesson. Like, because I talked to him. I know Kevin said something. Like, we were all like, hey, like,
yeah.
if it's a foul, call it. That's fine. It's like, but if someone's diving at your feet, whatever, and it's not impeding anything, like, it's like,
You say he learned his lesson, but you just won by 18 points.
no, but
It's like he's not gonna be too worried about it in that game.
No, I understand it, but like I just think that after that, like the amount of emotional intensity and everything that went on, and we were like, hey, dude, like if it's a foul, like don't get upset. Like just be like, hey, it's a foul. Let's work it out, and then we'll go from there. Because I think that was the issue of that game, is that like people just started yelling at each other, and then it was like we have to figure this out now because time's running down. Gabe's team's down by 2, and they want to score, but then we're trying to figure out what's going on. I just think if he like,
It's screaming matches.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So I just think if it's like, all right, foul, it's like, all right, what happened? Contested or not contested? Let's go. Like, I think that's just gonna be the key to it. I think it's just him not, being like, no, I'm right, you're wrong. Like, it's
And
that thing.
I think with my team specifically, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Palms would be maybe the only one, or maybe Paul, actually. But those two would be, like, the only ones that would, like...
I could see Paul, because Paul
Yeah.
had 1 or 2 Ds in my game that were like
a
borderline.
little aggressive.
a
yeah.
little aggressive. I don't know if I would have called them. Definitely, I would put money on Johnny calling both of those.
Right, exactly. But I don't think... I can't tell necessarily because this hasn't happened, but, like, I just don't see
Yeah.
Paul being, escalating that. I see him just being like, sure. Or
All right,
like,
Mike Long, if probably no one's going to take this bet, but if Johnny does call 5, you have the right on the next podcast to start it off yelling, fuck all you, I was right.
Fuck all. No,
You
you,
want,
we
okay,
just-
bragging rights. I'll
Yeah,
take
yeah,
it.
that is
You
bragging.
get bragging
You
rights.
you open up by
Stripper.
saying "fuck all you" and "fuck John." That's your.
John has to
that's
be
your
here for the next match.
Yeah. You can yell at him.
opening.
Nah.
Cool.
Actually, if Johnny listens to this, then yeah, he's not
He
gonna
will.
make it.
No, he will.
Yeah, he's not gonna
He
make
will.
foul calls.
Oh, I
He's
see.
not gonna-
Just to prove
Just
you
so I
wrong.
don't get
Just so
All right,
Mike Long doesn't
now
get
you know you get
pregnant.
open season to foul Johnny.
Ooh, okay.
He'll be at 4. It'll
I'll-
be like in basketball when you're at 4 fouls. You're like, guys, I can't foul again. I can't call it.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna be like, I can't do it.
He's going up to a like jump ball on the thing. I'll just like safety like
Ah!
hospital ball tackle him.
Ah!
Just absolutely deck him, and
He's like, I can't do it. I can't call it. I can't call it.
in
For
midair.
some reason, watch TJ bounce off Johnny and hit the ground.
Yeah, I mean,
TJ goes
more
foul.
than likely, yeah. But
But
no,
now TJ's ankle's hurt again. He's like, fuck.
Fuck.
How was the ankle feeling?
Yeah.
fantastic. Actually, it was really funny. Just today when I was at the gym, I was like, I got pretty much done with the workout, and I was like, oh, my ankle's not hurt.
Yeah.
You know, like it was. I finally was like, oh, there's
They're
like
still
nothing.
bruising?
Not really. The where was it? It was more feet picks.
Why are we not charging
It's
for
really
this?
hard to tell, but like
Hey, that's cheap.
there was still a little bit,
That's not too bad. Like,
And-
I was more worried about your side. There's a little
Yeah,
bit on there.
tiny bit right there still.
Anything on the other?
That's about it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's like pretty much good now.
That's good.
Which-
Bruising made it way worse than it was.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Well, right. Bruising's in that situation.
Bruising in the sound had me worried that you were seriously.
Well, the
Sound?
bruising's
What do you mean the
actually
sound?
He said that he heard like a.
it was
Oh.
it was like really gross.
No.
My question is, TJ, do you bruise easily?
No, not really. That's
Why?
because. But the thing is, the bruising is actually good because that's like it basically means that it's like healing itself.
Okay, sure.
So and especially because it was like around, that's
Mhm.
even better because it wasn't just like
Wow.
right where it was. That meant that I like got the blood out of the way.
I don't.
So
I was just wondering if you bruised easy because of that.
no, actually, I'm like pretty not bruisey,
Cool.
surprisingly.
All right.
Do you guys have anything you want to talk about for After Dark in particular?
Do you?
Yeah, why did
Yeah. Can we all
why did
direct our
Troy-
attention to the
Are we after
shit?
darking?
Can we
What
put our
did he-
attention to the
what
World
did he
Frisbee
say?
2021 shit talk, which has started. You know, it kind of popped off last week a little bit.
It's true. Oh yeah, that we got
Higgy and I's predictions were correct. I did carry Dan out in a wheelbarrow after that game. Troy just goes, meteor shower tonight for anybody interested. I'm getting up at like 4 a.m. to see it, hopefully when there aren't as many clouds. In the shit talk.
Hell
channel.
yeah,
No.
because it's not important. No, that's fair. This is
Yeah,
where it goes.
No.
No, but that's not shit talk.
Yeah,
Well,
but it's not important stuff. though.
It's the meme channel.
Yeah,
I said I called it shit talk. It's the Winter Frisbee meme channel.
It's it's just
Dude, this
like
is-
I created it and then I made like 8 random people mods and then I
I
called
saw
it
that. I was like,
You know what? Okay, I agree because Johnny did on Saturday at 2:15 p.m. say honestly, at Mark is probably the nice person I've ever met, and we are lucky to have him in this league.
You put a crying face on it too.
Yeah, and that's
Scott
I think
changed
that's
that
the
shit.
opposite of
Scott now just took the time to change the channel.
Oh, yeah.
Not the shit talk. Well, the whole reason he put it as a shit talk is because people were shit talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
meme
fair.
channel. Yeah.
I think it's always good to have a little bit of shit talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's healthy. So
After hours. Oh, we got to interview Luke, but that is after hours.
We have
okay.
to interview
I
him?
have one thing I want to start
Want
with
to
and we
interview
can
me?
interview Luke.
Oh, Jesus.
So me and
Somebody
Higgy
texted me and made sure I was coming.
and somebody else were talking at the bar before our first or second week of Frisbee. And we said, what if the Browns team consisted of 52 Nick Chubbs? How would they do? So my question is, how high up the draft list would you go where 7 of the same player win our league? So like,
what do you, hold on.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, how high would you have to go up for 7 of that same player to win? It's like 7 to win. So 7 Kevins goes 10-0. How does 7 Johnnies do
I see what you're
versus
saying.
7 Matt
Where's the
Marsicks?
cutoff?
Where's the
Oh, God.
cutoff?
Where's the cutoff of who actually wins
Of
with
who
7
act-
of themselves?
Yeah,
Can
exactly.
we pull up the draft list if we're gonna do this?
Yeah.
I need to see this draft list.
Yeah, wait, I kind of
Why
want to see
the
the
draft
draft
list?
list too.
It's just this. Oh,
We
I
gotta
see
look
the.
at we gotta
yeah,
look at
the
ratings.
The numbers
Ratings.
and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
because
the ratings.
Ratings,
Yeah, you kind of gotta. You kind of
Where
gotta.
did I- where did
I
I put
remember how
them?
pissed off the first week
Did we
Beefcake
actually
was.
do
He was like, I got the
yeah,
lowest
there.
fucking
Captain's
number.
ratings.
Oh, was he saying that?
He was so
Yeah.
pissed. He's like, I can't fucking believe it. I'm like, dude, I don't know you, so
Who?
I can't help you.
Who said that?
Beefcake was a little annoyed by it.
He was like, how did I get the lowest number? I'm like, dude, I
Hey,
don't
man.
know. I don't know you.
Well, it didn't help that Pat put -10
Yeah,
or something.
prove it.
Oh,
This is.
Well, I
the-
mean, my take on it is if you have a bad rating, like that's good for your team
Yeah.
because then
Yeah.
you get more
How
better
did-
players. Like I personally
that-
thought I was a little bit underrated, but that meant I got to, in my mind, put better players around me.
Yeah.
So I'm mad about it.
Okay, where I'm at. How did you get Matt and myself if we're right next to each other?
How did I get that?
You got Matt Marsick
Yeah.
and myself,
Right.
and
So-
we're next to each other.
'Cause
So-
I'm good at fucking picking.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at this like, wait,
So
how?
No,
Dan-
because of Dan.
It's most
Well, one Dan doesn't make sense, but then, that's besides the point.
Okay,
It's the-
so
Lucas, the exact same reason that I have both Palms and Mark. We're one away from
that's
each other.
fair. Yeah,
The exact same reason that I have Mike, Matt, Ferris,
You know, you have
and
Mike and Wall.
Mike
Yeah.
and Walsh.
Yeah, Mike
And I was
Walsh
able to get Matt Ferris in the 4th round.
Kevin.
So, but yeah, all right. Back to that
I
after
got
question.
you the round. I got you 4th.
Oh yeah, how high
I
up
don't
do you
know
have
how.
to move
No one picked
So-
you.
before
like,
7 of
oh,
that
that-
player win?
All right, I
Like-
think I don't necessarily want to go too deep in case people are upset, but I
No,
think
fuck it. It's after dark.
You're
They
fine,
can
you're
stop
right, you're
listening
right.
by now. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
it's us and Sean listening.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, no, listen. At this point, if you guys are upset about your rating, turn it
Wait,
off.
and so are we talking about so at this point beat Kevin's team?
I think it's lower
Would
than
7
you.
Patricks beat 7 Kevins?
No.
No,
Oh,
like
no?
as our league is exactly what Mike said.
Okay.
Could 7 of which player beat, in this case, your first seed, beat Kevin's team?
Mhm.
Oh.
So could 7 Zachs beat Kevin's team?
I think so.
Probably.
So I think
No.
I think it goes all the
No.
way to. So actually, Dustin would be interesting just because he doesn't necessarily have the throws,
I
He's
think
just
it's.
an
I think.
but he's just such an athlete that he'll
this,
still.
this is why this list is screwed because I don't think 7 Zachs can beat all of Kevin's team, but I think that 7 Ryan Walshes can beat all of Kevin's
I think
team.
7 Palms could beat Kevin's
I
team.
don't
I think
so.
the answer is a lot lower than you think it is.
Yeah, I think
Well, I
7
think that
Palms
Ryan-
could
I think
easily.
I
Ryan
beat
think.
Walsh.
I think 7.
Palms could definitely.
7 Rosses. I think is where it starts to get questionable.
Yeah.
7 Alex's. Maybe you run into some problems throwing.
7 Wojers?
7 Mike Longs. They
7
just be there.
We're all on the same.
They would
page,
tilt
baby.
each other.
Here
They
we
would just
go.
tilt each other.
No,
all
no.
game.
7 Mike Longs would not even play. They'd just bring out Smash Bros.
Like I think
Anyway,
for
is
sure.
this a crew battle?
I think for sure 7 Pauls could win.
Like Longs
I
bring
think
his-
for sure 7 Marks could win.
Yeah.
So that's obvious. 7 Scots. I believe in myself.
I think
enough.
I think you have it. It might be a little harder, but you got it.
Yeah.
7
7
Mike Longs.
7
Wojos.
Wojos.
Definitely.
Trying
Yeah.
to do a crew battle.
His throws aren't bad enough to where it makes
Yeah,
up for it.
exactly.
Like he's just too good.
Because-
Walsh's I think can. I think
because
7 Walsh's
7
You gotta-
Dennis's?
You think it
No.
goes that far?
Dennis can't throw very well. That's the issue.
Yeah, it's like right around there though. It's
I think it's got to be, yeah.
I think that
I
James
think
could have
7
a
U's
shot.
could do it. I think 7 Lewis could do it.
Yeah.
7 Lukes.
I think so.
I think so.
Specifically, Ross might be a little interesting. 7
Yeah.
Rosses.
Ross doesn't really know what to do when he has the disc.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
his
yeah,
rating doesn't reflect his ability to run a team.
Yeah.
I think the cutoff is Matt Marsick. I think 7 Matt Marsicks could.
Probably. I don't know if he has the like.
Because like, I don't know about
athleticism
Matt
to-
Ferris. I've never seen him play, but I don't think 7 Matt Ferrises would beat our team.
I think Matt Ferris is underrated. Everyone else disagrees
Oh, and that's
with me.
fine.
But
I-
I think 7 Matt Ferrises would have a good shot.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I think in this area is when it becomes kind of
I
spotty.
think
Where this
that's
guy could
where
do
you-
it. This guy
yeah.
could. This guy
Yeah,
could do
yeah,
it.
Exactly. Because like you skip all the way down to Allison, who we have agreed is very underrated.
Very.
Yeah.
I think she
Yeah.
would have a chance. It might
I
not
think she
happen
would have a chance.
just because of like straight up height and like
Yeah.
speed, but I think even then she might still be able to. I think 7 Anthony's easily good.
You do?
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
No.
He's super underrated.
He's underrated, but I.
No.
I think
That's-
7.
No.
There's.
We're getting
I would
pretty
put
deep
so
right
much
now.
money on
Yeah.
that.
But
guy.
I'm not
I would
saying-
put
I'm not
so much
necessarily
money
saying
on that
everyone
TJ.
will.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
There's just some.
I
There's
agree
just,
with TJ.
I think-
Are you kidding me,
I think
Michael?
that, no, Anthony.
oh, Anthony's.
Like,
I guarantee Anthony's very underrated.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, I think he could.
I think he could.
No, he is.
I don't know how good
he
he
is
is.
just like
He has
Johnny.
the
If
athleticism
he gets
to, like,
emotional,
be able to
he's
beat them,
fucked.
but-
The only thing.
Johnny's not like that. Johnny's way better when he's emotional.
That's what I'm saying. Is like they have that both.
The
Once they
only
hit that
thing
trigger,
with, like,
it's gone.
Like the only thing with Anthony is something like I talked to Gabe about. Like watching last game, I'm pretty sure Gabe probably talked to him about this. Is the whole last game he got beat to the open side
Oh, so
every
many times.
single time.
Ridiculous.
That is true, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily have the game knowledge for it.
but I think his actual ability still.
His ability's there, but I think
he's
his
very athletic.
Yeah.
He has a shot, I would say
Okay.
that, but I don't think it's
then
easily
you go like
what I
Now-
seven Higgies. I think 7 Higgies could do it.
Really?
Maybe
I think they run the gas tank issues
the gas.
pretty
Right.
quickly.
That's exactly. What I was
Josh,
thinking.
absolutely not.
No.
They can only dump the disc.
I will
Go
argue.
for it.
I will argue this year's Josh might be able to. Josh is on fire this year, and I love it.
Yeah,
Well,
but
he got
doesn't
scored
throw.
on. He got
can't
scored
throw.
on.
He doesn't throw upfield.
Right, he doesn't throw very well still.
That's the whole issue.
So, a little bit of a BM question.
Oh,
All right, let's hear a BM
Here we
question.
go.
How far down could you go and beat Dan's team?
Oh, okay.
Oh God.
I love it.
I want to go.
So
7 Joeys, I think Rex Dan's team.
Rex.
Where's Joey?
I don't know about
Yeah, where's
Rex.
Joey at?
I think
He's
maybe not
right
Rex,
below
but
him.
I think 7 Joeys could do it for sure.
Okay.
I agree.
See,
I agree.
Yeah.
I think 7 Sammy Burks could,
Yeah.
But if you
but I don't think 7 Troy's could.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
there's this
There's
spotty
definitely
thing
some
again.
spottiness.
So it doesn't move quite as far. It's further
Down.
down than Kevin's, but not that much further.
Yeah.
No.
Which that feels about right.
Right.
Could 7 Madelyns do it?
Oh, I think so.
I think so.
I think that Madeline is
She
very underrated.
The only thing that would be
she makes really smart decisions.
the only thing that would be really tough is like height and
Yeah.
specifically speed.
That's
Because, like,
good.
Yeah.
She could know where to be and like throw
But
well.
if you can't get there quick
if you,
enough.
if you can't
Yeah.
jump for it, then like what are you gonna do against like Dan? You know what I
Dan.
mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
But Danny goes like this.
Exactly.
Sarah Slenderman wrong.
But
Good question, Scott. Good question.
I like
Yeah.
good thought provoker.
Now I know what to do when I invent my cloning
here's
machine.
another good question.
I know which 7 players to clone.
Kevin.
So on the draft list, right? So say, fast forward to next year, we have these same players next year.
Sure.
Whose rating right here, as of right now, jumps the highest?
Jumps the
All the
highest.
captains rated, so it's all really like depending
so-
on who's captaining next year.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
gotcha.
Because
Okay.
looking
Oh.
at
Okay, if you guys are captaining next year, looking at this list,
Well,
same
I-
as next year,
but
where we are
We
right
might
now.
change up we might
No,
change
no,
up captains next year and kind of do like a mid tier captain.
Specifically, not us, Captain.
Yeah, not
I
like a top
completely
tier, just a
misheard
mid
the
tier.
question. I thought you meant jump the highest as who has the biggest for.
Oh, like
No,
physically
no.
jump the highest.
No.
Wojo.
That's always what.
Yeah, that's all.
Josh could for sure. I think he's the obvious answer.
Yeah,
Marsick.
but see, I don't know if. Well, I guess it has to count because he's rated where he
Marsick
is.
is
But
very
like,
good.
I
Josh,
think
Anthony.
Anthony, maybe
Josh
James.
Anthony, Ellison.
James is probably
What
about
about
right.
Sam Smartnick?
They move
I
up
think
a bit.
I
He'd
think
move
Burke.
up a bit.
I think Burke would jump
Burke
higher than
would go for
Smartnick,
sure.
but
Yeah.
I think
but they'd both go
Smartnick
off.
would move up to where Burke was. I would probably say.
Yeah. Yep.
I could see Burke moving up to where Anthony or higher was.
I think Dan Baumgartner
Oh.
would move up a bit.
Jump
Yeah.
the
Not a
highest
Yeah.
Yeah.
with a full, so like all the way, including having summer,
I
right?
think
Yeah.
Allison.
Don't
Angel.
Don't say
Angel,
Angel,
yes.
100% is going to jump the highest.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's getting way better.
Way better than third. Way better.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Because
That's just it.
she was having gas tank issues towards the end, but she was doing some really smart stuff in our game.
Or if Chase does actually play with us all the time,
True.
And
he'd
learn how to
also
actually
and learn
throw.
how to
he'd
play.
also get way up there. But
Because then he becomes almost like a Dustin or an Elliot,
Yeah.
kind of where it's just this super athletic person that can just.
right.
All right, now that I'm really thinking about it, though, I think that Ben may have some like push to him to
Yeah.
prove that because as you were saying, he was actually like pretty upset that he was the lowest ranked.
Yeah.
Puts
Yeah,
on
you
Pit
know-
Vipers, practices
Dude,
throwing
honestly.
cameras through the uprights for an hour
So-
every
so-
day.
So
It's
like,
like,
get him.
before
Rocky
the
montage.
game
Yeah.
for Gabe's, like before we played Gabe's team, like we were on the sideline, I was getting ready, just like having some water, just kind of stretching a little bit. He comes out, he goes, "Hey, do you want to wear these?" And they're Pit Vipers. I was like, "No." I was like, "No." I was like, "I'm good though." And he goes, "Oh, just put them on for the game." And I was like, "Sweet, cool, whatever." Then we get out, and like I'm on the first line, and I'm watching. I look over the bench, and he's still wearing them, and I'm like, "What?" And I said, "Okay, maybe that's his thing. That's cool." And then we did our first sub, and he came out wearing them, and I was like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha."
Honestly,
It's his
if he was there during Dan and I think Dan brought his mono lens.
He would have put the mono.
He would have put the mono.
Kevin would have put the mono.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say
Yeah.
because our bet changed because we were sitting in the bar after the games and Dan was like, next week I'm bringing my mono lens. So does our bet change if Dan brings his mono lens?
We agreed to it.
Okay, all right.
You had to factor that in. That's priced in.
I was gonna say because I'm not as confident.
If you bring his mono lens.
Cool.
All right, interview.
Yeah.
Oh God.
All right, anyone
Luke
got some
LaGuardia.
questions?
Time to defend your dissertation.
Used to play soccer with my little brother.
Really?
For
Did, Tom?
Liberty FC.
Really?
I did. Also, we're like, I don't know if you know, is it? Yeah, I think we're like somehow related down the line somewhere.
Who?
Tommy. Or no, I'm thinking. No, yeah.
I
I
mean,
think so.
so then
Are
also
you
Scott.
from Russia?
No, am I thinking of somebody else then?
Probably.
Yeah.
My brother's adopted. He was born in Russia.
Then yes, no, I'm thinking about somebody else. I know who I'm thinking about now. Never mind. Yeah, I did play with Tommy.
Cool.
All right.
I used to ride to soccer with him
Mhm.
like every week when we played together. Yeah.
Look at that.
Holy shit.
So, all right. First of all, how old are you? I'm
23.
3. Okay. And then, so wait, 23. So you would have graduated if you went to school. Did you go to school?
Yes, I went to school.
Well, like college.
Oh yeah, I'm not done yet, but I would have graduated in 21.
Gotcha. Where do you go?
Cleveland State.
What's your major? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh,
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh God. Right now, forensics is my major.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And I don't know. I would love to work for the FBI, but that's like super hard to do. So probably just working for like.
Do you have a what do they call it? A low risk lifestyle?
I would say so.
Like
Yeah.
FBI loves the religious people who get married at 22, 23 and like don't drink ever and are just the most boring white
Oh, no,
people
like,
you've seen in your entire
I'm a bartender,
They
so
love-
I drink. So that
Yeah.
just immediately removes that.
They love fire.
I'm not married at
They love
23.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like super low risk, but I'm also not just like.
No, you're fine. So,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
my roommate actually is thinking about doing it. So, main question is, how good's your eyesight? It does not matter if you're going to be an accountant in the
20/20?
FBI. You
Yeah.
have to have good eyesight.
Yeah, I mean, my eyesight's fine.
Okay.
Are you allowed to wear glasses?
If you have correctional things, you have to have been wearing them for a year.
Really?
So you can have prescription glasses, you can have
You had
contacts,
to
all
have
that,
had them for
but
a
you
year.
had to have been wearing them for a year
Oh.
to start.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
at least they let that
So-
happen. But
So before you go to apply for the FBI, get glasses a year before to improve your eyesight.
exactly.
I understand that's a way lower bar than I thought it was.
Well,
gonna be.
I'm
Well,
just saying
no,
that's like
among other things.
that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
weirdest
yeah.
thing.
Well,
that
no,
they were
but
like,
I thought you were gonna say they don't want you if you can't like spot a fly from
No,
quarter
no.
mile or
Well,
something.
you know.
if you're going into like the Air Force or whatever,
Yeah.
sure, that's true. But like,
Yeah.
no, because that's actually the reason he was
Yeah.
actually thinking about doing it this
Well, I
year.
know because like one of the other guys who I bartend with, he I don't know if any of you listen to like metal, or like so like one of my fellow bartenders, Brian Foster, he played in Five Finger Death Punch for
Really?
like 2 years.
No way.
Yeah, so he knows all those guys.
That's sweet.
And he wanted to join the Air Force, but he was too tall. Like he couldn't fit
Yeah.
in a jet, so
Right.
they were like, "You can't join the Air Force." Like it's like that. You're like, "Oh, well, fuck." Like
There's weird stuff
there's
like
nothing
that.
I can do about that,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like.
Well, you can chop your
Yeah, you
knees
can
off.
just-
Well, yeah. Well,
You
yeah,
chop from
but-
the knees down. You're fine.
Yeah.
Bone shaving or whatever it is.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, but yeah.
All right, I forgot it's a cool ambition.
Yeah.
Where, so you don't get your choice for the first like 3 or 5 years or whatever. it
Yeah,
is,
no, you
but,
don't get your choice.
but where would you want to end up? You
like
staying here?
state or like.
Sure.
Oh, I'll probably be out of Ohio.
Okay.
If I had to choose anywhere right now, I would love to just be in Arizona. I love Arizona, or probably Denver. Probably those two.
Any reason for either? Do you have like?
So I've been to Arizona a couple times, and like, I like the heat more than the cold, but it wasn't like a humid heat. It was just a dry heat, so
Yeah.
it wasn't just muggy. And then Denver, because I like to snowboard and stuff, but I haven't in a long time. So yeah.
Denver's awesome.
Because I did have a shoulder replacement, so
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was at the good old Cleveland State when.
Yep.
Oh, you was that
He was
during
like,
Oh
Frisbee?
yeah, he coached you. Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Cleveland State.
Yeah. With
Oh,
him,
let's
Tom,
talk
and
about
X.
that.
In other words, it was just me and Tom getting
Yeah.
really
Wait,
drunk.
it was
Yeah,
you,
pretty
Tom, and
much.
X.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
they were our coaches.
bruh.
Yeah.
Did you guys do anything?
No. No, we did.
We fought.
I know.
Yeah, we did.
But
Yeah.
we also
You would.
Tom and I just got really drunk at tournaments.
Yeah, of
We
course.
played Smash Bros. The night before. all
That's
the
true. You were
tournaments.
coaching a team, and I came to sub for you for like a game or something, and you passed me a bottle of Honey Jack on the sideline, and we took shots
Yeah,
while you were
Sounds
supposed to
about
be
right.
coaching.
That 100% sounds about
Yeah.
right.
That's college.
it's college
I mean,
ultimate.
Like
Yeah,
literally
what are you
even
gonna
in
do?
like sectionals. Like
We weren't the best, but
People
like
are-
we went out there and had a good time. And, and then I did all that. I tore my labrum, tore my rotator cuff, and
Oof.
separated my shoulder.
yikes.
That's
No good. Was it
Yeah.
playing frisbee?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Just terrible day?
So I went to. I remember we were playing Cincinnati at the last tournament of the year in Columbus, and I
suck.
went to
Sectionals.
or sectionals, yeah, and I went to D, and I went like around the left of the guy with my left hand because I dove for it, and I went to plant myself with my right, and when I went down, it just like
Oof.
because that was the same game that Jake when I threw a backhand huck, and he caught it over top, and he came down and like fucked up his shoulder too. That was against Kent State though.
I don't know if I was there for that tournament.
I don't know. We got wiped in that one pretty bad. I remember that. But
You're wiping a lot of
we
tournaments.
got wiped in a lot of them. Do you
Bad
remember
coaching,
who was the
bad players, or both?
Both. I'm gonna go both on
What-
that.
what
me
year?
and Tom were just having. Me and Tom and I
That
were
was
having
my
way too much
freshman
fun
and sophomore
drinking.
year.
Do you know what like number year that was?
Would have been fall and spring, or fall of 17, spring of 18,
Okay.
fall of 18, and then I heard it spring of 19.
Okay. So the entire time you were on Cleveland State, I was on Ohio State. So I think we played you in.
Probably
Some
at
sort of indoor-
Miami. We played Ohio State when we were at Miami University.
Oh yeah. So
because that's
probably
when,
were on
that's
the
when
field
we
together.
we only won one game that one. It was against that team. They were in blue, and it was like we won. That was the one game we won.
You gotta remember, I was drunk
I know.
90%
I'm
of the
taking
Oh
it
my
up
God.
I'll never forget
If
that
you-
though, because that's
I
when
get
we-
that frisbee's not that serious, but holy shit, Kevin.
You're at Scotian College Ultimate.
It was
What do you
Tom
want
and
from
Kevin,
me?
Yeah, it was awesome. Like, we all had a great time.
It's fucking cold.
Yeah.
The only way me and Tom stayed warm is we drank.
You ever think about like a coat?
We wore coats and drank.
a liquor coat.
We fucking played frisbee and like
Hats, gloves,
Yeah.
scarf, none of that crossed your mind?
we had all that on. It was like 90. It was like
It
freaking
was
like,
90.
It was 9. It was like
90
9
in his
degrees.
bottle.
We played in like snowstorms.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
played in Ohio.
Oh my god, dude.
It's rough.
Frisbee
College Ultimate in Ohio is rough.
sucks.
That was a good chance then. Yeah, I would have.
Did you guys? Yeah, we were definitely on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
It's funny. Did you guys play Huck Finn? Or have you ever, either of you? It's awful. It's a spring thing. It's early spring, so it's freezing and always windy. It's just a nightmare. But
The only tournament I know, or thing I know in Columbus is Andy 24.
I don't know. Huck Finn's in like Indianapolis,
Oh,
No,
no,
I don't-
definitely.
Then
somewhere. It's right by the
my
Mississippi.
my I
somewhere.
think
No.
my favorite tournament we did was Denison. That was my favorite one we went to.
Get to sweep the floor with a bunch of D2 and D3 schools.
No, it was their Halloween weekend, and
Yeah.
everyone went to Denison, and it was just
We just
it was
took over
kinda
that
weird.
school.
Were you in that group of people that I accidentally got into a party at
No,
Ohio State?
he was not playing
I
around
was
then.
not then.
Never
No.
mind.
He's not playing around then.
No.
Because Kevin brought like 10 people. I was at my friend's frat house, and Kevin's like, "Hey Scott, you want to hang out? Like I'm in Columbus." I was like, "Sure." Like here's where I'm at. Like roll through.
Yeah.
Kevin brought like 10 people, and then they all walked in, and the people were like who do you know here? And like I know
Yeah.
Scott. And my friend came up to me. He's like, "Hey Scott, all these random people are saying they
They know
know
you."
Scott." I'm like, "I don't think it's you though. It must be someone
Someone
else." I was
else.
just like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
gotta
know
be.
who that could be. God, it couldn't be me."
It couldn't be me.
Incredible.
Oh yeah.
So what I'm finding out is to get in the parties, you just have to say you know some random person's name. and-
Yeah.
Well, that was a pretty
Well, yeah, like
not
big-
well run frat.
big
Some of the
frat
bigger ones will have like legit guys and
Like
like lists.
bouncers,
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
needlessly selective in my opinion.
Oh yeah, frat whole thing sucks.
I like
But-
drinking in Akron because you just paid $5 and you got in.
Yeah.
You paid $5, you got a cup, you got jungle juice, and you got in. They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, no,
They made money off that stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
Greek life is weird. I don't like
Never
it.
did it. My brother's a president of his
If
frat.
I owned a house and I threw parties like that, I'd be like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
charge people money to get in.
Yeah.
$10
Let them make
yeah.
money.
That makes sense. I would.
All right, Mike, give me a random question for Luke.
Damn it, Mike.
I wasn't prepared to be put on the spot.
Who's better
I know,
at
that's-
soccer,
that's
you
why
or
I asked.
Tommy?
See, we played different positions. So
I don't
it's
care.
tough. Tommy.
Okay.
All right.
Tommy, mostly because up until about sophomore year.
Oh, that's right. You were goalie. I
I
think is
did
what
play
he said.
goalie, yeah. But up until about sophomore year in high school, I didn't eclipse 5 foot.
Oh, really?
Same.
So
No, I wasn't.
like for example, I went to Ignatius. So like
Mm-hmm.
Ignatius has the best team in the country, and like when you're trying out to play soccer, they're like, if you're not one of the top 11 kids, you're not making like or whatever the number is, you're not
Mhm.
making them. Like I was good, but like the size was the issue. Like that's
Yeah.
just what it is. What it is. So Tommy was always bigger, but he was just fast. Like kid's quick, and he would just play the wing, and he would just run down and just score goals. And I
Yeah.
just supported him.
Yeah.
Now I have a question. All right,
Shoot.
what got you into playing frisbee?
I mean, playing frisbee. So it was my sophomore year in high school. A bunch of people I knew. That's how I first met Dan. Was that they did Life Teen Ultimate on Tuesday nights at St. Barnabas, and I was like, yeah, like I've always like played frisbee, but never anything like I just throw them off with my brothers and anything like that, nothing crazy. And then they were like, hey, like I think it was Gabe because my brother knows Gabe, so I knew Gabe. And then all of them like, hey, like come up and play or whatever. So that's when I met Dan. I met Gabe, or I started to meet Gabe more than like everybody else who played there. And I just played every Tuesday that summer. And then when I went to college,
So, what was
I
your
played
first
Tuesday.
impression of us?
Well, because I think that's probably when I met you, Andres. I knew the Andres six, but
Okay.
like I didn't know they played frisbee and all that.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was that young, like it was just like, oh my god, like Nick Andres is unmarkable. Nobody can like Dan. Like I remember when they were like, oh guard Dan. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I said, I'm this kid. Like now I'm like, oh, I'm on Dan. Okay, like there's such like a big like swing from them when it was like. I don't know, like
Well,
I
at
just,
the time, it was the people who could throw forehands were gods.
Right.
exactly,
but
and like I
it's-
learned
it's
how
a
to
lot
throw a
different
forehand
now.
quick because of that. I hung around Dan, like all
Yeah.
those guys, and so like you learn that kind of stuff. But I mean, like it was super cool to just be able to go out on and just do something and just like hang out with people. Like it didn't even have to necessarily be associated with the school or the church or anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
we still like just hung out and played frisbee, and that's when I went to college. And then I was like, yeah, like see if they have an ultimate team, because I remember when it was like a couple weeks in, they were just throwing a frisbee in the like in the common area at Cleveland State, and I just like walked over and started talking to Matt March. And he was like, yeah, like this is when we're meeting or whatever like that. So I went out and I just started playing, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I just started playing there, and then we got to this, and I just was like, yeah, I'll play a winter league. I have nothing else to do on a Thursday night, and then and then here we are. I mean, like I love frisbee. It's a great time, and it's like I was so hesitant. I didn't play for 2.5 years after my shoulder injury because I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like I was so scared that my arm was gonna fall off.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, here we go. And then thought about trying lefty, didn't work. And then yeah, here we are. 2.5 years later.
Nice.
Feels good. I missed it. I definitely did miss it because it was like something that like it's like you do it every week, so it's like that constant schedule of like I've practiced this day, this day, and tournament this weekend, and then this and then, and it's like then you stop that and you're just like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
you lose it almost a little bit. Because then like I came into this and like only like you, Kevin, a couple other people like actually knew who I was, even though I played with a bunch of people before, and then now it's like now I know a bunch of these people because now I see them like either I went to Nordonia and they know people I know, or just like from playing with them, like our team and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
That is definitely one of the like coolest things I think about this whole group. They're just growing so quickly and fun.
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy because like my girlfriend went to Nordonia and she like knows Zach, like her brothers know of you, know you, you know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're dating Miss You
Carly Bunn.
Carly Bunn. Okay.
Yeah, so then like
Buns.
Matt Bunn, Dan Bunn, like they.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like there's that. So like she knows. She was like, wait, you play like Angel was in color guard with her.
Yeah.
So she's like, wait, Angel plays frisbee. I'm like, yeah, like and it's like all these people. She's like, I know this person, and it's like all of a sudden all these like bridges start to connect. It's
Yeah.
like just
There are a lot more band people in this league than I thought.
yeah.
No, dude.
Like Joey.
Dude, like I will live and die on this hill. 2, maybe 3 kinds of people play ultimate frisbee: kids who are in high school band and kids who are in high school cross country.
Okay.
And then
The-
kids that are in high school soccer.
The third one is like
You go
sometimes
in.
like you get washed up soccer players and stuff too.
Or everyone who's going for engineering.
I was just
Oh,
gonna say.
yeah.
I knew that was
That's a
the
good
third one. I
That's a good
forgot what
one.
the third one was. Engineering was the third one.
Is number one. There is everywhere you go. You ask people what they do, or like, "Where engineer? I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer." The different ones. There's mechanical,
Yeah,
electrical,
but they're all
computer,
engineers.
but engineer.
So fun.
We literally had I think we had like 27. Well, we started the year with 27 people on Ohio State's team. 4 of us were not engineer.
No shit.
I'm dead. It's literally facts. It was
My
unbelievable.
brother's an engineer.
And 2 of them were business. That's it.
A lot of engineers play Ultimate.
So many.
I don't know. How does that like? I want to find like.
They like the physics of the
correlation.
disc.
Probably, or it's just like chill enough to where they can still be like nerdy and like.
I think that's what it
Study.
is. Is it's because at least for me, it's I can be athletic and competitive and run around, but like I don't have to take it that seriously. Whereas even if if I were to look for that elsewhere, I'd end up doing like
Something super
CrossFit or
competitive,
boxing
yeah.
or something. I would just have to get way into to get as much out.
You'd have to like commit so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, not that you don't commit a lot of time.
Yeah, but
But it's like a Thursday night. You go out, hang out with your friends, play frisbee.
Exactly.
You know, it's-
Okay.
Kevin's-
Happens like way too often. I was sitting here. I did nothing.
Nice. But I think that's what's good about this league is like you meet a whole bunch of people and like frisbee's a game where like even just look at like I'm just looking at some of these people like on the the list like you could be so new to this sport but like even look at like Chase or any of those guys like he's quick and athletic like all right
yeah,
just run around we're gonna teach you how to catch a disc we're gonna teach you how to throw a backhand like anybody can learn this sport like it's
Mhm.
not like for example like a golf or something like that where there's so much technical stuff where you have to nail it all where like even in this like you can always like even if like for example be on a little bit like a dance team
yeah,
like not all of them are really like big into like frisbee technical stuff all that but like if Dan can just put the simple stuff into it just the catching and throwing
yeah,
like, the difference could be super big if it gets there.
yeah. All right. So in Dan's absence, we talked a lot about Dan's team. Let's see what he's able to come up with this Thursday.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited.
Let's see if it's a more convoluted strategy than last week.
Yeah.
You guys ready to? Yeah. The problem was it wasn't complicated enough.
What shape is his offense gonna
I
be?
want to confirm something. I forget who said this, but it was Kevin. Did you or did you not like look at Dan's game plan and then work on it? Like
No, this was
That was
after.
not true. Yeah.
This was 100% after.
Yeah.
Like I was handing TJ all the papers because Dan ended up
Stat.
writing it down on the
Yeah.
papers, and I was handing. And I looked at Dan's like offense. I was like, "This is complicated as fuck." Dan, is this what you were trying to run? He's like, "How dare you look at my offense?" I was like, "What the hell?"
It was
Like I remember because like me and Johnny were throwing and like Dan was like had everybody hold up trying to explain it and just like everybody was just like
Maybe this is good for
staring,
next week.
just like not knowing what was going on and I was
Check
like
//ultimate to see if Dan's been posting in there.
well,
Well, because
Wait,
last year Dan
No
wanted
way.
to run a hex stack, and he posted in Reddit Ultimate like,
How to run a
"Hey,
hex stack with
how do you run a
4 or
hex stack
5?
with 4 people
5.
on 5 people on an indoor field?" And he was a whole thread of him going back and forth with this guy, and all these guys who like probably played 2 months in their entire life were giving him advice. And
I really want to know. who
that's
he
the
was
thing about
talking to.
Reddit is like you don't fucking know who this guy is.
yeah.
And especially the guys who hang out online and post often, almost a 0% chance that they're good at anything.
They're probably engineers.
Yeah, exactly.
Really? Wow. I didn't know Dan was a big Redditor.
I don't think he is. I think he was just looking
Just
for.
ultimate. He was just looking
For
for
advice, yeah.
Yeah.
the hex.
I'm
No,
looking
could-
at this
could we
'cause
do,
I
like-
actually want to see. I want to know if I know who he was talking to.
Can we
There's
like,
a chance
Let me
I
see
know.
if let me see if I can find it.
can we guess what shape Dan's offense is gonna be?
It'll be
I
a.
think it's gonna be like
It's just gonna stay
a
aside.
trapezoid. Maybe on a trapezoid.
It'll be a circle. Just clog.
Just clock.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Oh my god. Because what Dan doesn't he just plays disc golf now, right?
Oh, here it is. Feasible hex on indoor. Oh, his username's Couch Spirit.
Let me see who he's talking to.
Because be like, oh, I know who that guy is.
That's really funny.
That's actually so great.
Luke, give me a single word to describe yourself.
Myself?
Yep.
Oh, Jesus. That's tough. I think a good word right now, just where I am.
No,
in
none
my
of these
life
are my buddies.
Is
I
I would
know my
say-
buddies
I'd
watch
say-
that.
I'd probably say
channel every
hungry.
once in a while.
Hungry?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Because like even like with work and stuff, like I've been at Masted for this will be coming up on my 4th year, and I've been bartending for a year and a half now. And it's like in that trade, like Brian who played in Five Finger, like he bartended in Vegas for years before coming back to Ohio. Like you're always learning something new, like a different trick on doing this and that and the other. Same deal with Frisbee. Like after every game, like Kevin talks to me for 5-10 minutes. Like even last week he was like, hey, like make sure like sell your backhand. And in my game, if you watch it, like there's a string of I'd say 7 or 8 passes where me and Matt Marsick literally just pass it back and forth because he would pass it to me, Jan would run over, I'd hard fake the backhand, he would bite, and I'd just pass it back to Matt. And Matt would do the same thing on the floor and pass it to me. Like that, making sure I'm moving my hips, you know, like because if you just stand stagnant, there's nothing for them to bite on. They can just watch your eyes or anything. So I think it's like always being able to learn something. I think is the key because like if you just keep learning, like the way I look at it is like don't be afraid to make mistakes. But if you learn from those mistakes, there's like nothing bad that can happen.
Hell yeah.
Right? Like
No,
you know,
that's
even
great.
after the first week, like I was like, hey, you gotta open your eyes a little bit more, look out on the field more because you're just looking right where that first cut is, and then like I'm not choosing to dump quick enough. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna focus that for the second game. And I improved on that. Not like I improved on it. Like I probably should improve more, but then like came to the third game and I kept focusing on all those things. Like you make those mistakes, and then you're like, all right, I gotta make sure to move my hips more, move my arms more, make sure to look for the dunk. And I think that's just going through anything. I think really.
Yeah.
Personally.
I
Cool.
love it. Well,
Ready to wrap it up?
Yeah.
It's
mine
Oh boy.
I don't like that. That's the.
I don't either.
It's not.
Where's that